The clock stopped ticking forever ago. How long have I been up? I don't know. I can't get a grip, but I can let go. There wasn't anything to hold on to though. Why can't I see? Why can't I see all the colors that you see? Please can I be? Please can I be colorful and free? What the hell's going on? Can someone tell me please? My hands switching faster than a channel on TV. I'm black and I'm white, no something isn't right. My enemies invisible, I don't know how to fight. Remember I'm living fear, more than I can take. When I'm up against the echo in the mirror, echo. What the hell's going on? Can someone tell me please? Why I'm switching faster than the channels on TV? I'm black and I'm white, no something isn't right. My enemies invisible, I don't know how to fight. What the hell's going on? Can someone tell me please? Why I'm switching faster than the channels on TV? I'm black and I'm white, no something isn't right. My enemies invisible, I don't know how to fight. Remember I'm living fear, more than I can take. When I'm up against the echo in the mirror. Remember I'm living fear, more than I can take. When I'm up against the echo in the mirror. 少しずれていてさ、僕らはいつも言葉をかけ違う歯車、一人ぼっちで泣いたヒーローごっこ伸ばす前にくじけた両手で君の方に触れた、君のこと壊したいと思う、世界は夢の狭間で黒い祈りをはらんで、大事なものだと撫でていた優しい指がねじれてゆく、僕はただ僕のために力なきこの手をかすかな輝きの方へもがいてみる、君の歌う未来へ導いてよ。守りたいと思う紛れもなく温かい場所があることを信じてる、寂しさに壊れた優しさが白い雪に埋もれてゆく、夜は僕の胸に小さな火を灯す、古い傷跡のようで微笑んでよ、この世界の暗闇から目覚めてゆく光のような君の歌、僕だけが見てた君のことを
チュチュイPlease me チュチュイミラージュ
なんてことだ、誘いの過ちだ、自分のことにダララダラダデジャビュー、どうして突然逃げきちゃっていいでしょう、だけどなんだか気まぐれ者になり、そんな
Hello and welcome to the LTS semifinals. We have Glacial Esports taking on Mirage 7M. I am super hyped to see both these teams play. We have seen Glacial Esports on stream multiple times this entire split, and we also seen 7 Mirage M also on stream. What about you guys, my fellow casters?
I'm super hyped for this matchup, of course. As you just said, we have seen uh, Glacial Esports a lot, and I'm always happy to be able to see them play whenever we get the chance.
Right. And this is actually my first time being able to cast these two teams at this high level. Like, I'm super excited to see this. My name's Cursive High, and just being able to see this high elo sort of field and like in this real crunch time sort of situation, semifinals. Like, both of these teams obviously want to win. Nobody wants to go home a loser. And like, I'm just kind of going through trying to bone up on like how these teams play, like what their champ pools are, and I'm really excited because there are a lot of shared champ pools, and also like the way the meta is coming up. Like, I'm actually kind of surprised at like how much of a shared champ pool both of these teams have when it comes to the primary engages.
The
Yeah.
primary engage is always very important.
If you're ever one of the major things that the LTS people, the LTS players focus on is objectives. You're always going to see a massive fight every single dragon. I don't know why, but they like to fight for the dragons. Which I guess it makes sense because dragon is the most important objective in the game. But like sometimes these guys just throw themselves at it.
I would just say like first dragon, in my opinion anyway, like I would say first dragon is kind of like fool's gold. Like, you want to make sure that if you're going to go for first dragon, early dragon, like you want to make sure that either the jungler is killed or your bot lane is just super far ahead or something like that to where it's super safe. Like, you don't want a 50-50 and then end up like getting baited into a bad fight early on and getting like wiped out. In my opinion, the thing that I'm looking about is actually how these teams play around Rift Herald early. In my opinion, just because Rift Herald can get you those early plates, can get you a lot of gold income coming in early on, it can really help alleviate some pressure, but also it can also help speed up any sort of snowballs that are going on as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, being able to get that first one, as you said, does it doesn't feel as good. But if you can snowball that, and if you can get those first four, or if you're like a late scaling team and you get that first one, it can be so impactful because if you're even able to like steal it away, perchance, or if you steal away even the second, third one, you give yourself that much more time to scale up. Whereas usually if you're playing an early game team comp, your win condition is getting Dragon Soul, and if you're like a dragon down for pretty much no reason, then it feels very bad.
Yeah, like looking at dragons, like if you're really playing for like a dragon soul, like if you know your team really needs to like scale and like you play around those sort of things, like that absolutely is a win con. And like being able to set up and like make sure you optimize like how you play for vision, how you actually play with the lane prio and all those sort of things, that's actually like a really big objective to go for a win con.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're just trying to.
Do you have anything?
It looks like both teams are trying to prepare themselves, but they're almost ready.
That's good to hear. So, what kind of picks like really stick out to you in the meta right now? I know yesterday in the LRS we saw something kind of spicy in game number 5. We actually saw a Teemo top after those buffs that were made to the Q, to his Q speed and the blind duration. What do you think about Teemo's power? Because I personally thought he was still going to be pretty weak, but it was actually fairly strong, even in a competitive setting.
Yeah, I think Teemo is absolutely at a point where if you play him, this is absolutely a perfect time to be picking him up in competitive because he is such a strong lane bully, right? And the biggest problem about Teemo when it comes to an organized sort of competitive thing is most teams are really unsure about how to play around those shrooms, how he sets up the shrooms. And basically, what I tell people is shrooms are not just only for objective control, but also it's a way to kind of set up vision as well. So you kind of get like a dual action thing with Teemo. So I think he is extremely strong right now. Like I cannot believe Riot went through with those buffs, but I appreciate being able to see something else in the meta. So when I'm also looking at some of the other picks that have been creeping up. I'm looking at, the Graves jungle, Graves top, Graves are getting flexed all around, but also the MF, the Lucian, like these two AD carries are so big right now. And I do recognize like both of these teams kind of play both of those champs, but there are some other champs that the AD carries play that maybe aren't quite as strong, but if you have the engage for something like a Kaisa or something like a Tristana, for them to actually have that lockdown CC, for them to be actually able to clean up, like they are still strong as well. So there's a lot of picks that you're going to be able to see in both of these comps and both of these teams where you're going to see setup. I feel like each of these teams play around they're engaged through jungle and support really well. I also want to highlight Rel. Like Rel, maybe not super high up in priority, but because she can actually do engage and disengage, she's actually really strong. And I think people might be sleeping on her, but at the same time, I feel like Braum is at a higher level than Rel. So if Braum is up, I am all for picking Braum if you need some disengage. But if Rel is up and you're a good Rel player, I would say go all in on the Rel because she is so good as an engage and a disengage champion.
Yeah, I have to agree. I feel like Rel is just super strong. In general, I feel like the past few patches, it actually felt like we were in that like very heavy engage support meta where you were seeing like Nautilus, Leona, a lot of Alistar, a lot of Arcana as well. But we've slowly started transitioning into a meta where enchanters are also very much thriving. The Yuumi being pick ban, like just really strong with the assassins, and that's because of the assassin junglers that were also kind of introduced with the Talon, the Kiana, LeBlanc in the mid lane also becoming more powerful. Being able to pair Yuumi with those champions makes them so annoying to deal with, and I touch on this like every single time I think we have a cast.
Yeah, no, Yumi has been picking up a lot of prio. Like she's wicked good, especially since Lucian is good too. So like you could do Lucian Yumi, you could do MF Yumi, you could do Ezreal Yumi. Like Yumi has been picking up, especially when you're looking at this higher elo where positioning isn't as much as a negative as you could see in something lower. Like these players are all going to be able to position well. They know their strengths at different points in the game with their level, with their item spikes, and they're going to be able to actually optimize that Yumi on them. Like when we're at the lower levels, in all honesty, I don't like really seeing Yumi on anybody because there's going to be a lot of positioning mistakes. But because we are at that higher elo, that diamond plus level, like these players aren't going to be positioning poorly. They're going to be playing really strong around that Yumi. And also, I still feel like even though Seraphine isn't getting picked up yet, she's not quite as strong as she had been in the past. She's still also a really solid pick if you need somebody to fill in with some engage, disengage. Like Seraphine is always a nice go-to. And on top of the enchanters, the other one, like Lulu hasn't, she's kind of fallen out of favor with some people, but she's still such a great disengaged champ. And when we're looking at, how many different ways there are to engage right now with so many different engaged champions that are strong, like the Thresh, like the Not, the Leo, like these are all super strong, and the Amumu as well, who, I mean, after those cube bandage, nerf or buffs and everything, like he's a super strong support as well as a jungler as well. So I like Lulu a lot as well. So going forward into this draft, I want to see like what these teams are actually going to prioritize. Are they going to go for, something where it's all just engage, all sort of CC, or are they going to try to, kind of put in some disengage utility sort of layers as well?
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like these teams are getting ready to head into draft. I don't know if both teams are ready. Wolven, do you have any updates on that one for us?
Complications at the moment, actually. One of the teams are now in the Discord call. So
Gotcha.
we're waiting for them to join
Unfortunate.
the Discord call before we can start.
Gotcha. So, I think what we haven't really touched on so far is we focused a lot on bot lane. Let's talk about like top lane as well. What are your thoughts on like the top lane matchups right now? Obviously, there's a lot of different styles of champions that are being played. I know that a lot of teams have been favoring just kind of sending in 2 tanks, but usually when we see like higher levels of play, we are seeing a lot of these carry top lanes come out. I do feel like it does vary team to team. So what do you think about this matchup coming into this one?
Well, we already talked about the Teemo, like after those buffs being so big, like I feel like definitely Teemo is definitely like a if not like a S minus sort of pick right now because he is such a lane bully and can get fed and like just put so much pressure on the map. But we're always looking at things like the Set. Set is, in my opinion, an S tier top laner right now. But also, I talk about this all the time. Tom Kench, like that champ is busted. I know people don't like playing him because he is so OP. And if you look at all of his stats, he basically has no bad matchups in lane. He beats everybody in lane. And basically, what it comes down to is, oh, we're getting into draft.
Yep.
Look at that.
Draft is ready to go, so I'm sending you guys off.
Let's go.
Sounds good. And for game number 1, we will have Glacial Esports on the blue side, which means they're going to be first up to ban, and G7M Mirage is on the red side. See how they respond. But first, Glacial Esports actually taking a while to figure out their first ban here. Only 5 seconds left, as it's going to be the Gangplank taken away from G7 Mirage's top laner. So already that top lane being targeted.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Gangplank player, like, even though Gangplank isn't necessarily as strong as he has been in the past, like, if you're a team who knows how to play around that champ really, really well, he's always going to be a threat. Like, he may have varying degrees depending on the meta and everything, but I like the Kindred takeaway. I feel like Kindred is slept on so much, especially since Graves has risen in priority in that jungle, but Kindred is absolutely a beast of a marksman, so I love this takeaway right here. He says, hey, no Kindred, none of that, ulting, saving everybody. We're just going to go ahead and take that off the table right here.
Yeah, definitely an ultimate that can be used to turn around team fights super hard. Then we're going to see the Lee Sin ban come out as well. Lee Sin, a pretty strong jungler in the current meta, as G7 Mirage is just churning out these bans in response, already hovering their second one. And the Ziggs probably only hovering it just so they can think about what they want to do next. I imagine they're going to go ahead and lock this in. It's a super safe. It's probably I'd say the second safest ADC right now. Yes, you can play in mid lane as well, but you're probably going to be playing in bot lane. The first safe one being Ezreal. They're safe in different ways though, I'd say, because Ziggs is usually not going to be in too much of a threat of getting dove because he can clear the wave so dang well, whereas Ezreal has a lot of tools to escape physically with his arcane shift, but he cannot clear a wave, and you can set up fairly easily, as I can't see what that... It's the Lilia, there we go. Yeah. Things a little slow.
No, like, this is actually crazy because there are so many power picks open right now. Red side has to ban MF. Glacial maybe might pass on the MF right here, so they're going to go ahead and take away the Talia. So definitely trying to pinch, not just the jungle pool, but, some of the flex pools as well. And when I'm looking at Glacial Esports, like, you could absolutely first pick this MF if you want to, but at the same time, you could go ahead and lock a really strong jungler if you want to as well. So I like going in on B1, picking the best available for your team. Whichever is the best available, that's what you should be locking right here. Don't give away anything for free. Nice. I like it.
And yeah, I love that as well. Graves is, I'd say pick ban. I think you have to ban him if you're red side as well, especially if the other team can play it even slightly. And even more so on top of that, if they can have more than one role that can play the Graves as well, because that is such a strong flex pick. And that's why I think that's the most valuable thing you can do with a B1 pick, right? Is be able to flex it anywhere. So like top, mid, and jungle, as long as all of them can play it, Graves can go into any of those lanes realistically. And G7 Mirage responding exactly how I think they should. They pick up the Misfortune with their first pick and are looking to probably pick something to pair with it. Actually, no, they pick Syndra with their second pick there, which is like pretty safe mid laner.
Crazy. I mean, it's semi-safe. Like Syndra, you know, she's a solid pick, right? But this definitely tells me like either they have a read on Glacial Esports, like they say, hey, you know what? Like if we take the Syndra away right here, you don't have anything. But I know that they both play a Kali, so I'm wondering like why they actually gravitated to that as well. And I mean, Galio works too. I was gonna say both the mid laners also play Galio, so they definitely understand like what each other has in the mid side. And I do like MF. I feel like she is the best available AD carry unless you play Lucian. I feel like Lucian actually beats her in lane pretty solidly if you have a decent support to back you up. So when I'm looking at Glacial, like Lucian is still on the table right here. I don't know if they want to pivot to that. Oh man, I love Camille too. This is actually setting up for a nasty wombo combo on the side of Glacial Esports with the Camille, with the Galio. Like you get that boom Hextech ultimatum into that heroic entrance. So this is going to be big. So looking at G7 Mirage, they're going to have something to either out tank, out damage, or just get away from this sort of wombo that they have, because this is a lot of damage, a lot of engage, and a lot of lockdown on the side of Glacial Esports. And there goes that team all over.
No.
Oh,
no way. Go. It's locked into again. Okay, so we get to. I mostly threw out Timo as we did see it in finals yesterday. I wonder if we'll see it again. Did not think we would see it again. But apparently the champ is good enough for even LTS players. And like, I mean, after yesterday, I am a believer. I just don't. I hate him. Let's be real. Who doesn't hate Timo? You never want to cast that garbage ever. But I mean, like, that being said, like I say that, but it is kind of hype, right? When you see Timo, especially if you go that attack speed build, just seeing him fire off, he can chew through a team real quick, and having something like the Galio already locked in, he's going to absolutely shred that Galio if he goes that PTA build.
Oh yeah, Timo is a beast. Like, he's a lane bully. He scales really well. A few patches ago, he got some buffs to his ultimate as well with the shrooms. So Timo is actually, I would put him S tier as well as a top laner into this Camille. Camille can absolutely deal with Timo after she gets some levels, but she has to be super careful about the fights that she picks. And I like the Zen and the Seraphine takeaway. Jhin is something that's normally seen as a counter to MF, but that does leave the Lucian up as well. Kai'Sa is still available. Kai'Sa not necessarily great in 2MF, but if you have some nice CC, which Glacial does have, I like the J4 takeaway as well. So you're going to see, none of that Glacial, or you're going to see none of that, J4 ultimate into a bullet time or anything like that. So that's a very smart takeaway. So now going into G7 Mirage, we got the R4 right here. We're looking at their jungler or their support. So this is going to be their engage right here. They need a solid engage that's going to keep people locked in place for this bullet time.
Yeah, for sure. And we are going to see that Leona get locked in, picked up. I'm actually surprised we didn't see that banned away because Misfortune's being paired with someone like Leona Rell, and I feel like that's why we don't see that ban coming through, because they're just like, all right, do they get Leona or do they get Leona 2.0, right? With slightly more defense or counter engage abilities in the Rell. So yeah. So I mean, like, I guess you don't have to ban it away, and you're more focused on what can the jungle do to mess us up, and you do pinch that pool a little bit more, so I like that. And also the Braum, of course, coming through to go ahead and protect this ADC, and that could be a Lucian lock-in right on after. That would be a pretty strong bot lane to answer Misfortune Leona.
Yeah, I really like the way Glacial is actually setting up this comp. Like, they have answers to basically everything. G7 Mirage went for some really big power picks. They're going for a hyperscaler insurance. I like Jinx, but I do think like either Lucian, Ezreal, like that would have been a bigger lane bully into this MF. Like with the Jinx, you're basically saying like, hey, you're not going to kill our Jinx. It's kind of a coin flip. You're saying if you kill our Jinx, like, yes, you're going to get ahead and you're just going to like snowball, right? But if you don't actually snowball this lane, Jinx is just gonna outscale you. Oh my god, is that gonna be a Rammus lock? Okay, they're just messing around.
No,
it's gonna be Poppy. Yeah, that's right on. It's Poppy.
Poppy makes a lot more sense. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, with the dashes that they have, the Poppy right here is actually super, super smart. I love the utility that she brings. She can be flexed around, obviously, but this is obviously going to be Poppy jungle. So she's going to be able to shut down, any sort of dashes by the Camille, the Galio, the Braum, the Graves. Like, it's actually super smart to actually do this right here. And when you're looking at the way that G7 Mirage has actually constructed their comp, you're looking at strong lanes, you're looking at decent team fight after lane, not necessarily the best scaling, but if they do snowball, it's going to be super difficult for Glacial Esports to actually catch up to them. The Jinx on the side of Glacial Esports is going to be their win con if it does go late, right? And we're looking at the Camille, who also scales really, really well as well. So it's all going to come down to who's going to actually be in position to set up things in a offensive way. Who's going to play this? Who's going to play this early game? Really aggro to try to set up the lead, because whichever one of these teams sets up the lead first, whoever sets up the pace first, I feel like that's going to be the team that actually comes away with the win.
Yeah, absolutely. We could end up seeing a very close game come through as well, especially if the Misfortune ends up going crit and both teams just kind of trade blow for blow. I could absolutely see this being a ridiculously close game, but we'll have to see how they do in this one. I do think you are absolutely right. Whoever gets the ball rolling first, though, should just start running away with it. That's how you would expect this one to go, especially if it is the side of like the Misfortune. That's who I think is more likely to start getting things. So I think G7 Mirage, based on having a slightly stronger bot lane, they should be able to fight for objectives much easier. I think Braum Jinx has a really bad time skirmishing in the bot lane against Misfortune Leona. So we'll have to see if the junglers are able to make up the difference there.
No, I think you are right on. Like, Jinx in general is somebody who needs, 3, let's call it 2.5. If we're being kind to Jinx, like, she can scrap a little bit early based on like what rune she takes, but it's not going to necessarily equal something to an MF. So I'm really looking at this Braum to be able to protect this Jinx in lane. Like, you want to make sure that you're saving that shield for bullet times or any sort of thing where it looks like you might be, the Jinx might be in danger. And the nice thing about their comp that they have is there is a lot of engage and disengage. So there's multiple layers to each comps in general. When we're looking at the side of Glacial and G7 Mirage, and on paper, I feel like Glacial has something that's a little bit more standard, something that's maybe something that we're used to seeing, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that it's better, but it is something that, kind of works. We've seen this sort of comp work before with the inside-outside sort of thing that they have. And then on the side of G7 Mirage, we're looking at a comp that basically says dominate lane, snowball, pick up every objective, and basically one-shot you with the Syndra or the Teemo, and then with the Poppy with the follow-up. So it's definitely two different styles that we're seeing right here. Glacial is definitely kind of gambling on, it going a little bit longer, while G7 Mirage is basically saying, hey, it's not going to go long because we're just going to snowball on you and win, 25-30 minutes.
Absolutely, and that's going to be interesting to watch. Now the top side, this Teemo, you did touch on this a little bit, the Teemo Camille matchup, where you said that Camille does start winning that once she gets those levels, gets those items, but beforehand, it's going to be a very fun time for Teemo.
Right, yeah. So Teemo can win it, like, if he plays that, like, level 1 really well and gets Camille to back, super early, like, then Teemo just basically takes over. So Camille has to be really, really cautious early on, because the way she plays her early game is going to dictate everything else. Like, once you give Teemo a little slight lead, it's over for Camille. Like, even if she does try to engage on him, all he has to do is save his blind, and you go in with that little hook shot and you're blinded up, you do no damage, your Q does no damage, and then he just kills you right there, right? So basically what you're trying to do with Camille is you need to play super safe and basically let Teemo push you in early. You have to just freeze the wave out. You try to pick up as much as you can, call your jungler over with this Graves pick, and then maybe you guys can get something going. Because if you do actually put the Teemo behind, if you put him so far behind that the blind means nothing, you can actually just go all in on him on that Camille. But technically speaking, Teemo is a pretty hard counter to Camille in general. So it is going to be rough for Camille, but it's not necessarily unplayable, but you have to be really smart about the wave manipulation.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be fun to watch in the top lane. See if they're able to pull that one off. Well, I am
they're begging you to
interested
start.
in...
They're spam all over in the chat about you joining the lobby right now, bro. Like, okay.
I can't join the lobby, which is why I've been trying to communicate that they should just start now and someone should stream for me, because I'm having some technical issues on my end, some internet issues.
Yeah, no, like everybody's like, they're all like, oh, Shoga, join. So no, that's awesome though. Going into this though, I really want to see how this Galio plays out. Like, Galio with the Camille is a wombo combo, but we just talked about that top side with the Teemo into Camille, like being such a super hard counter. And when you look at, Galio, that heroic entrance, like if Galio actually is mildly ahead, even if Camille is behind, it could be actually a big wombo, heroic entrance with the Galio coming in and that, knocking people up, getting that taunt off. He might be able to carry the mid game if he actually stays even with Syndra. Like, he's usually pretty decent into Syndra in general just because of his passive and everything. Hopefully, we'll be able to see some nice wombos with the Galio Camille combo here. Yeah,
absolutely. And I know you did talk about that, but it is going to be so potent going into this game as well, because the whole goal, right, is to be able to go in onto this Jinx and make her life hell. But if your backline is also getting absolutely demolished, or if Teemo is not allowed to walk at your ADC, which is pretty easy to do, Teemo really has no way to get into the backline. He has to play front to back. So if you just disrupt this backline, you disrupt the Teemo, you disrupt the Misfortune, they really have no damage that can access the Jinx. Maybe a Scatter the Weak from the Syndra into her ultimate, and that's about it. But I feel like that's a lot harder to pull off, because you have to kind of try to play that disengage for a little bit and then keep going in. The only ones that can reliably get on top of Jinx are Leona and Poppy, and I don't know if that's enough to find the kill there, especially with Peel coming out from Braum.
Exactly. No, like, that's absolutely correct. Like, Braum basically counters, I would safely say he counters almost every hook support in the game. Like, his disengage is so strong right now. So if ever anybody locks Leo, not Thresh, even like anybody with a hook, you just lock Braum and it's like, hey bro, by the way, you just hooked me. If you go in, we stun you up, we turn and we kill you. So Braum is super strong, especially when we look at, going into an MF as well. That bullet time, all you got to do, you put your shield up, you nullify all that bullet time damage. And after those buffs to MF's bullet time, 2 patches ago, I want to say, where she has more waves and everything like that, like being able to shut down all of that just takes away all of the kill pressure from MF. So when we're looking at Syndra, when we're looking at MF, both of these 2 carries in the AD carry position and the mid position, like, they want to one-shot you with their ultimate. So if you're able to shut down either one of those, you'll automatically win the fight right there, because they're built around one-shotting. If they can't one-shot you, you win.
Yeah, that's the name of the game, right? Is being able to not get one shot when you're playing ADC. That's really all you gotta do. So I'm interested to see what the Jinx ends up going if she does go that Kraken Slayer for that damage, if she believes in the peel from Braum, and even Galio if he does not have the ability to fight forward into that back line. Or if she just opts for the shield bow. She doesn't have a lot of threats on her, so I honestly don't think it's necessary. She might, because she just wants to be able to survive against Poppy. If she does go shield bow, she never dies in fights, I want to say. Shield bow would be nice for Syndra. I think the reason you go shield bow is if there's undodgeable one-shot potential, which Syndra can very well just get a nice ultimate off, but I feel like you do need to get that scatter as well. So that's all you gotta do is just not get hit by scatter the weak from Syndra.
Just dodge the skill shot.
Have to
That's all
see
you
how
gotta
that
do.
goes though, or if she says, yeah, exactly. As Syndra can also make it a little bit easier to hit if she does know how to buffer the EQ combo where you E first, then Q at the end of it. Make sure you can pretty much get a guaranteed stun instead of queuing first and then kind of having to aim it a little better. So see if Syndra has what it takes to just absolutely pop this Jinx.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you're bringing up a good point here. So what you're really talking about that I'm picking up is that Steel City Warrior on the Syndra needs to be roaming to the bot side because that's where he's going to get fed at, basically. So he's probably not going to get fed in lane versus this Galio. I mean, it's possible, right? Hypothetically, it is possible for you to chunk down a Galio super early before he has that passive shield up and everything like that. It's definitely possible, but the more reliable sort of gamble slash bet to put it on is Syndra actually on the roam. So it's all going to come down to vision on that mid side in that river side. Like, are you going to be able to track out where the Syndra is roaming? Are you going to be able to set up that deep vision to make sure that she can't do anything, you know, any sort of crazy ganks and everything like that? And also how you're going to respond to that. Like, is Camille going to be able to actually join a fight, or is Tima just going to shut her out, you know, before she ever has a chance to TP in? So there are so many different ways to actually play out both of these comps. So going forward, like I said, I do like Glacial Esports side because it is sort of a standard thing, but they have power picks, they have a really solid comp. But at the same time, when we're looking at G7 Mirage, the way that they've actually set it up is, you know, win lane, win game, and we just win off of that. So if that happens, you know, G7 Mirage definitely can dominate this early game if they play it right, if they're tracking out, you know, where the Graves is, and if they can get prio and roam down to the bot side, blow up the Jinx before anything happens. I feel like that is such a nice win con. But if it goes mid/late game, I feel like straight up, right off the bat, Glacial Esports is going to win. And also with this Graves, we haven't really highlighted this pick, but the reason why Graves has been getting so much play in basically every division is because he is tanky, he does damage, and he snowballs so well. So he can invade on this Poppy, absolutely. Like, is Graves going to go for an early invade on this Poppy? Because when we're looking at clear speed, there's no way Poppy actually can match Graves in any way. So I want to see how Graves is actually going to do this. Like, invade on this Poppy, make it so that the other solo laners have to actually help out the Poppy. Otherwise, Poppy just falls behind.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see if the Graves is able to shut down this Poppy or if she survives the early game jungle presence from this Graves. However, before we do that, we are going to go ahead and send it over to a quick break while we get all synced up, get those predictions in, and we'll be back in just a few short minutes. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to Game 1 of the series between Glacial Esports and Gang 7 Mirage. Former champions, Gang 7 Mirage, by the way. We have Glacial Esports on the blue side and Gang 7 Mirage on the red side. As we do see an invade coming through with that Braum, as Poppy could be in for a pretty nice surprise here up in the top lane. See if that is the case. Or that's Timo, my bad. I saw your... Actually, no, Poppy went to...
Oh, the hook shot. I think
weird
Timo's in
location
trouble.
as the hook shot misses as Timo will not be able to, or will be able to get away. Sorry, maybe the hook shot landed. I
Yeah,
did not
hook shot
quite
just
see
barely
there.
missed. Yeah, it just
Okay, that's
barely
what I
missed.
thought. You said he was in trouble, and I was like, did I miss C? But yeah, I was pretty sure it had missed though. Got that right. As my stream quality is not the best at the moment, so hopefully things get a little better, or hopefully I don't miss too much. If I do, bear with me.
I like what G7 Mirage did right there. They did actually take the time out to actually set up some deep vision. So they put it right there next to the red. So right away, the Braum and the Jinx, yeah, they're pinging it automatically. So they do know that the Graves is going to be starting out on the blue side. And I like that Braum actually took Sweeper really early. So they cleared it out right away. So pings are going down. They know that Graves didn't start on that red. So this is actually going to signal to me that Graves might be looking for an early gank on the bot side.
Yeah, for sure. Does seem to be that way, as he is in fact clearing into his Gromp now. Just got that blue buff. As we are going to see Poppy do the opposite and path up top lane. Technically the same route, as they did start the same buffs. As the Jinx is going a little far forward here, trying to get those rockets down. Does get taken to about less than half HP, but both bot laners on the side of G7 Mirage also low, as Braum is pretty healthy for his time down there.
Yo, like this Braum is actually working out really, really well. Like the Braum Jinx, like once you land that Q on the Braum, the Jinx follows it up so well with those rockets. I like it so much. So I'm Rob, and Havoc tried to re-engage to try to get some damage on that return, but no, it did not work. So they had to burn pots right there to try to get that HP. Oh, and look at this. Kite might be in trouble. Big damage going down.
Great scatter of the week from Syndra. That electrocute is proc, but there will not be any more damage. Does not really have the mana for it or the cooldowns right after. But winning that trade is pretty solid for her in the mid lane. Meanwhile, we're going to see Timo just perma-shoving under this tower, which works out really well for him because Graves isn't clearing down toward, or isn't clearing up towards him. He's clearing down towards bot side, as was already established, but there are ignites that have dropped. Now Timo drops his. The flash. Will he be able to get the kill? No, he will not. Does not manage to find it. As
Poppy's here. Poppy's top.
Camille is out for now. Yeah, Poppy did path top lane. Does get the flash, eat the Q, and the auto attack will be enough for that first blood from the jungler of G7 Mirage. Great stuff from that Poppy.
Yo, nice job by the Pothy to path up top. Look at this on the bot side. Big damage going down.
Will not be enough to make anything happen though. Graves is in the area, but he was slightly late to that play. So is not able to help out, but they are trying to shove this lane or shove this wave under the tower. But a ward will spot out the Graves. And now Leona's going in. Teleport coming down though. Teleport coming out from the side of G7 Mirage as well though, as Leona is getting so low. Leona will go down. However, Graves gets traded back right on there by that Syndra. Syndra forced to flash away after getting taunted. Q does hit from the Braum, and the flash Q from Galio finds himself a kill under the tower onto the enemy ADC. A great play from that Galio.
Yo, that was actually so hype. Double TP comes in, Syndra, Galio, both there. Galio ends up getting 2 kills out of it. Let's go. Syndra got 1 out of it, but look at this. Galio's actually going to go ahead, reset back by first. Syndra's actually trying to rotate up to try to catch this wave out that's actually pushed in under this mid side. So what a banger already starting off between these two teams. We're seeing a lot of hype action. Okay, now it does look like Syndra. I think she should just stay right here. This wave is actually going to push back in the mid side. Okay. So definitely
it is slow pushing towards her.
Yeah, like, oh wow, look at this. Camille actually rotates down from the top side because I guess, you know, she wasn't having a fun time against the Teemo here.
Yeah, definitely not, but Galio does come back to collect the rest of those minions. Camille pathing up towards the top side. Galio also heading that way. See if that ends up working out for them, though. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, there's some very simple CSing. They do have Graves coming up as well. Teemo is running away as fast as he can. Does get blinded up. Will go into the bush. Tries to get invisible, but does get taunted and will reveal himself and goes down. I don't even think he got the invis off. Either way, it would not matter. But meanwhile, G7 Mirage immediately respond by taking away this dragon to make sure that Teemo does not die in vain.
Purple Ninja?
Now,
hello?
Braum getting stunned up, get rooted up, but there's no solar flare to follow all that CC up from the side of the Leona. So they're just going to go ahead and be able to take this dragon away. Jinx goes for the steal, does not find it though, as G7 Mirage retreats into the jungle, into the bot lane. They will be just fine.
Yo, this is actually kind of a crazy sort of game going on. Neither team wants to give away anything, and we saw that nice roam up by the Galio right here, picking up that kill onto the Teemo with the help of Poppinge on that Graves. And look at this. This might be another dive on this Teemo.
Speaking of him on the Graves, as it is a dive, but Teemo is just absolutely 1v1ing there. But we're going to watch the bot lane now as they are able to pick up a kill onto Braum, but Teemo finds a 1v1 in the top lane. It wasn't quite a 1v2. Graves didn't really participate at all. He was very late to the play. Camille definitely pulled the trigger a little too early, as Graves could look for it, but if he gets blinded, it could be trouble, as the blind does come through instead from the Graves, who answers back to one of his own. As now, Graves is just making sure he catches as much CS as possible up here, but that should start to bounce back towards the Camille, who is forced to just run up. She's actually running bot lane with no TP. Teemo could deny a huge wave, but instead just kind of lets it sit, as Camille is now walking back up top lane. Does not want to lose many minions, but she should lose just about all of this.
Okay.
Yeah, Poppy is looking for that gank. The flash from the Braum. As now they're looking for the play. Poppy trying to come down. Heroic entrance comes in as Misfortune's going to go down. Now they're looking for more damage on to the Leona. Leona will not go down there though.
Yo, how creative was that right there? Purple Ninja with that wraparound. They communicated that so well. They said, hey, if we actually engage right here, go ahead, burn that heroic entrance, and we can get an easy kill. And I think Camille was there because Camille knew, like, hey, if I go in too, like, we could do the same thing. But they said, yo, Camille, go back to your lane. Like, we got this. Don't worry. Camille's 0-2, picks up that Sheen right here. And actually, Camille went Omni Stone, which is something I haven't actually seen too often. It kind of makes sense, I guess. But the way that they played around that Galio ultimate was so nice.
Yeah, the aftershock, not what you want here, is going to negate. Actually, none of that damage because she didn't get any CC off. This Teemo is just having a field day up here. Galio's walking up though. Don't think they're going to be able to find that play as Graves gets spotted out on that ward. Should be just fine from here.
Yeah, Teemo is actually putting so much pressure out. Like, he's bringing so much attention. But the way that the side of Glacial Esports are playing this is actually so well. Like, they've already tried to help out Grand Canyon on this top side. And look at this in the mid side. Kite actually took a little bit of a damage buff right there. And Grand Canyon's in trouble again.
Yeah, has to use the hook shot to get out of there. Teemo just absolutely dumpstering this top lane. Teemo pick coming up huge, and we do see that attack speed build coming through. I believe he's building that Nashor's Tooth at the moment. That is what the Teemo yesterday did when he went that press the attack build, and I believe that's press the attack on Teemo. Again, very blurry, but it looks like the symbol. All right, just making sure. Awesome. That is just the standard build, especially if you're going into something like the Braum Galio. You do want some like kind of shredding damage or tank shred. If they were all squishy, I would be able to forgive the burst damage. I just think that the PTA build is so much better in more situations.
Yeah, and I want to just say, like, I'm Rob here on this AMF, actually when PTA and the lethality start. So this is something that I usually don't see. Normally when you see PTA, you normally see that alongside with a crit build. And oh my goodness, he just gets chunked up.
Yeah, he takes a good bit of damage, and PTA... I do agree with you. Usually if you go lethality, you do want to go something like that Arcane Comet for more poke damage.
Yeah. I mean,
and you can even go Comet into crit. I mean, you're using the lethality build makes your bullet time way better. It just makes, in my opinion, your auto attacks, especially when you're facing these tanks, it makes them a lot weaker, especially if you aren't able to snowball your lane. If you snowball, you're always going to be way stronger than your opponent, but Jinx is up 1-0-1, and you've lost all the scaling that you could have had in this misfortune, in my opinion. The fact that she's down... she's died twice, so she should be at least a little bit down in XP here. Yeah, she's level 6, Jinx is level 7. Down in farm, about 11 right now, is only going to get larger, especially if Jinx keeps having this solid wave management that she has. Then Misfortune's going to have a really bad time trying to match Jinx later on, because it feels like Jinx is already ahead.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they've done a really solid job on the side of Glacial Esports to make sure that Jinx is competitive, if not ahead. And the way that they've been able to, utilize that heroic entrance by the Galio, utilize, the pressure that, oh man, here goes that hookshot going in. Okay, heroic entrance into the Hextech
onto the
TP.
Yeah, that as well, but the teleport's coming through for the Teemo's mid laner. Syndra is here, Scatter the Weak available, will miss! Does use the Q first, but still able to get that kill onto the Camille. Galio still wants more going in, trying to find that damage. The ultimate from Syndra is just not enough. Maybe trying to bait the Galio into some shrooms, does get shut down, but now in the bot lane we see a play as well. Bullet time coming through, trying to do as much damage as possible. It's just not enough. Braum taking out so much of that damage with his E, as now we do see the Poppy going in for a little bit more, is not able to do it though. Blast the Graves closer to the ADC, forcing the ADC to flash away, trying to get the damage, trying to kite away, does find the kill, but the W comes out from the Jinx, and she gets excited after getting that kill. As the dragon is still up. Teleport coming through now from the Galio as Camille is making her way up. Scatter the Weak immediately going to come down to stop the Galio from advancing any further. That should be the end of the plays on the top side. We'll see if they return to the scene of the crime, though, in the bot lane around that dragon.
Yo, and Teemo on these shrooms on the top side has so many shrooms around here. Like, he's basically ungankable. And look at this. This all started over a Cloud Drake. They were both trying to get prio. Both teams were trying to roam up, set up something so that they could actually take this dragon. And each team played it so scrappy, so well. And I love the way that Glacial Esports on this Galio is actually capitalizing on the way that Grand Canyon is playing this. Like, Grand Canyon is behind, but he definitely is helping out, Kite Azure on this Galio get ahead with these heroic entrances. And going forward, the way that this Galio pick is working out with this Predator build is it's actually kind of crazy, because I wasn't expecting him to do this much. And look at this, Teemo getting ganked again by Kite.
Yeah, could be unfortunate for him, as Galio is going in the hookshot as well from the Camille, and they just absolutely melt him. When they have another body to do damage, feels really bad for Teemo. Of course, in the 1v1s, he's doing pretty well for himself, but just getting jumped on by that mid laner, top laner duo, it's going to feel very rough, especially. That's a lot of damage coming through from that ultimate of the Syndra, but now she takes some tower shots, is able to still find the kill, though, onto the Graves. A very nice job from the mid laner of G7 Mirage. Pretty solid stuff from Syndra.
Yo, I like it. I like it a lot. This Syndra Poppy, they dropped the freaking Herald mid. Like, Syndra's like, no, I'm not just taking place, bro. I'm taking your life. Like, why are you even here? Blows up the Graves right then, right there. Graves actually was doing some nice job of sidestepping it. And then the Syndra gets the kill. And I wanted to say, Camille did pick up a kill right there on that Galio roam. So both of these teams are rotating so well. It's actually crazy that the pace is going on right now. They're over a kill a minute already at 14 minutes in. We're at 16 kills. So this is actually crazy. And yes, there is a visual bug going on, guys. It's 8 to 8, I believe, in terms of kills. It's not actually whatever it's saying on the stream right there. And we're looking at, it's only about a 400, 500 gold advantage on the side of G7 Mirage. But yeah, every time Kite Azure is roaming up, he's getting something out of it. And look at this team up putting more pressure on Grand Canyon in the top side.
And doing what he can, trying to find that damage with those auto attacks, with those Qs, but doesn't want to take too much damage from that tower. Wants to make sure he's as healthy as possible for when Camille is able to jump in on him. Never want to be in a position to get solo killed, especially now that you're down a little bit as this Teemo. Yes, the Camille didn't get the kills. Now having Poppy here means that Camille has to play very safe, and about to lose this tower, she decides to just give it. There's no way she's able to realistically defend this. She's going to try, though. Does have Dark Harvest. Maybe might look for a stack. Does not look like it, though, as we see both teams kind of hovering around the top lane, but I doubt we'll see anything for this Rift Herald.
I think we're going to see something for this Rift Herald. Like, they brought up everybody. Both teams brought up everybody for this Rift Herald in prep. The only person that didn't roam up was this MF, and it looks like Azure on this Galio is actually going to rotate to the bot side as well. So, I mean, there's some vision set up for the side of Glacial Esports around this hero, but look at this. Look at the way that G7 Mirage are just holding hands through here. They spot it out. They know, and this might be a big fight right here for this second Herald.
It could be absolutely massive. Meanwhile, though, Galio going in onto the Misfortune, trying to find the 1v1 in the bot lane. Misfortune might be able to win this one if she's able to kite out enough, as now Galio is forced to back off Scatter the Weak into the Leona stun. The cleanse comes through, though. A great cleanse from the Jinx, but is it enough? Is she able to help her team is the question. Yes, she is. She will get the kill onto Graves with her team as she gets excited, but she has to kite away with her passive instead, as Camille has gone down as well as that Graves in the jungle.
Got him.
Now, a lot of damage coming through. The ultimate will come through. A shutdown for the Syndra onto the Jinx is now Braum, the only one left alive in this fight. Galio was not there, did not have the TP to join. The heroic entrance did not have the range at all, as Misfortune was keeping him busy. As now Galio gets out of there. As if Galio is able to win the 1v1 in the bot lane, this goes a lot worse. But because Misfortune's like, hey, I'm bodying this guy, the rest of our team's like, oh, okay, we win this 4v4. Even if we don't have our ADC, all we got to do is make sure Jinx is not allowed to step up.
Yo, the way that Steel City Warrior on the Syndra is piloting it is so well. Basically 1v3 right there, and blew up everybody. Takes a kill onto this Jinx, gets fed. She's 6-0-1. She's got a 650 gold bounty right here on. Essentially, just finished the Archangels as well. So that's going to be a lot of damage coming out from this Syndra, who has snowballed so well. And when you're looking at Kite Azure on this Galio, like, he's been doing pretty well as well. He's only 20 CS down. But, I mean, the way that Syndra has been playing is just, like, getting so far ahead. And look at this. They're looking out Purple Ninja on this Braum as well in the mid side.
Yeah, good look for the play. Doubt they're going to do so, though, as they are starting to set up those shrooms in the jungle. Teemo doing what he can, waddles away, though, as they are going to start prepping for this dragon. That is the next objective that can be taken. The next neutral objective that can be taken anyway. And dragon will be up in about 40 seconds. We'll see how they go. That one is now a nice scatter onto the Graves. Does not get the stun down, though. The ultimate does come out of Syndra. There's just not enough damage to kill the Graves. Meanwhile, Galio trying to get out of here as well. Will he get CC? Does get eaten into the wall. The stun's going to come through. Teemo, Graves steps up too far, but the heroic entrance should be able to keep him alive. The flash forward, the Poppy auto is enough. That ranged auto with that shield, the buckler has been thrown and kills the Graves, and jungler down means that this dragon should be G7 Mirage's pretty easily, pretty handedly.
Oh, MF is in trouble right here.
Starting to move towards it. Oh, that is a teleport onto the MF. MF is saying, guys, just go for the dragon. If I die, I am sinning a little bit by being here. She is actually able to get out with their flash so far.
She got out.
They
Wow,
don't want to
crazy.
push any more for that play.
Yo, I mean,
That's wild. There's
Yeah,
no
that
way
was
she should
so
have been
heads
out
up.
there, but she does.
yeah, like I'm Rob on this MF, like just escapes with the skin of his teeth right there. I like it a lot. And look at these troops doing so much work. The way that was set up, they just converged so quick on that bot side, tried to get a pick. It actually pays off. And once again, you know, the Syndra, the Poppy, the way that they actually coordinate is so huge. They're going to go ahead, pick up that Ocean Dragon. And now we got 4 minutes on the next one. It's going to be an Ocean Soul. So this is a pretty big dragon in general. So now it's just on the back of, you know, Kite and Silva. I want to say, like, this Jinx is actually, like, pretty strong. Like, you're looking at a Jinx with a Kraken Slayer working on that next Zeal item as well. And Jinx is pretty big for 20 minutes in. Normally, you're looking at, you know, 3 items, but the way that they have snowballed so well on this Jinx, it's actually crazy. So, going forward, I would say, if anything hits on anybody, they have to be hyper aware. So she's going to go for the rapid fire cannon. Okay, that's interesting. I thought maybe they would, you know, go for the Runans. That's normally what you see on the second item for Jinx, but this basically says, hey, I'm going to go right into, you know, maybe an IE or LDR, depending on, you know, what they think they need. Personally, I always say the closer you are to 14, the more powerful LDR becomes. So we'll see, you know, when they start working on the IE or LDR, depending on, you know, what's right or wrong right here.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see if they're able to pick up that LDR soon, or if they even go that item. Definitely think that's going to be an important one moving forward. Oh, we do see the side of Glacial Esports trying to start getting back into this game. They're going to have to find a solid fight around one of these neutral objectives, I'd say, or get a really nice pick, though. I'm pretty sure that just with the Camille Galio, they should have the better team fight. Pair that with the Graves into the back line. As long as they're able to get onto Misfortune and kill her, I think, or get onto the Teemo, kill him, I think the rest of it becomes easy. Syndra, definitely, now that I'm really looking at it, 700 gold down, he's 6-0-2. Also needs to go down pretty badly in these fights, as they're going to look for it here, as Braum has been countered here, is not able to get in, but they're trying to find the play onto the Syndra, uses her Zanya's, is getting very low, will go down, a shutdown for the Graves, but now they're trying to turn this run around on its head. Misfortune is relatively untouched, has a double kill, trying to find it, the double up will just barely not find the kill, autos are coming through, Braum will go down, the poison is enough from the Teemo, as G7 Mirage find a great play in the mid lane. Glacial Esports trying to force the issue and get shut down in response.
Yeah, that's going to be that nice 3-for-1 on the back of that MF ulti. And yeah, they went hard on the Syndra right there, and they completely lost track of the MF, who goes through, channels that bullet time, gets a double kill right off the bat, and automatically wins the fight right there. And they're turning to Baron. They're not going to start it up, I don't think, because they are so low, but they're definitely going to try to set up Vision and maybe set up some Shrooms as well. So they're back, reset, buy, and look at this. Pings are going down on the Ocean Drake. It's up in the next 1 minute 40 seconds, but Baron is available. So I really like the way that G7 Mirage played that and everything. They were definitely for each other. And on the side of Glacial Esports, like, they just said, hey, let's blow up this Syndra right here. She's such a big problem. And yeah, it was just, you know, nobody kept track of the MF. And also the Teemo did a lot right there as well, with the Shrooms, with the blind. And next big team fight, I'm looking at who's actually going to be taking this Baron. When we're looking at G7 Mirage, they've already set up some nice vision around this Baron. Glacial Esports is completely blind to it. So if they wanted to start it up, they absolutely could. And look at Teemo just laying Shrooms all around this Baron pit.
Yeah, if they knew where the side of Glacial Esports was, they probably would have pulled the trigger a little bit earlier, especially if they knew that Graves was nowhere nearby. Meanwhile, though, Camille trying to live here. The Solar Flare is going to come down, only gets the slow, though. That's going to be a pretty large ultimate down for the side of G7 Mirage when this Baron does get started, as they are just going for it. But the Dragon is up in 30 seconds, and so the thing about this is they're probably going to check this. Graves is walking up as well with the rest of his team. Camille's going to be a little slow to this play, does not have teleport to get in as well as Braum is stepping up a little bit too far. Could take some damage. Now they're looking for
Big
that
damage.
flank. The Scatter of the Week does hit onto Braum. Braum is very low as now the flash forward from the Teemo as a big taunt can come through, gets 2 as now they're all going in. Camille finds the shutdown right onto that misfortune as the rest of Glacial Esports just shredding through this team. Syndra left alive still though, is now Poppy trying to go in but just gets shut down by that Galio very easily. The Shrooms not going to be enough damage probably, but Syndra could maybe go in. Hookshot is going to be scattered away. Will she be able to find it? They're so low on health. They're not able to do the Baron. Even though they win this fight, they have to back off. Now, Syndra trying to find some damage. Might be able to stop one of these backs. Might be able to even get a kill. Scatter of the Week goes down. Not able to find that one as now Galio is going to stay. Does go forward. Does miss that knock up there as well as the taunt, but is getting so much damage down as they manage to find the Syndra. Meanwhile, in the base though, it's going to be a lot of damage being taken down onto their Nexus towers as Graves soloing this dragon, trying to take this away, and I think this is going to be a very important objective for them to grab.
Yo, that was so crazy right there. What was that? A 4 for like 1 or something on the side of Glacial Esports. They cleaned that up so well. At first, I was a little bit worried. I was like, man, G7 Mirage are playing this so well. I really like that they did bait out the Baron, but unfortunately, the way that it played out, Kaida on this Galio is just such a problem. He goes right in on I'm Rob on this MF and immediately gets that double taunt right there. Havoc got taken so low when he was trying to re-engage. He actually Zenith Blade in it to 3 people and they turned and blew him up so quick. So the peel wasn't actually there for I'm Rob. And yeah, Kaida is really being such a team player, such a big factor on the engage, but also the re-engage as well. And look at this. They're still trying to say, yo, we're going to keep on going to this Baron. You're going to have to keep checking this. We're going to have to keep forcing this fight right here. And I get exactly what G7 Mirage wants to do. They say, hey, we feel like we're stronger. You guys have to come to us. So this is how you start up these fights. You have to get them to continually check this Baron, and if they don't check it, if ever they lose vision, you just take the Baron straight up.
Yeah, absolutely. It does sound like we're having some problems. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but we're going to go ahead and send it over to a quick break while we get that sorted out before this next team fight breaks out. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the game from the pause. As we are just in time to see a solar flare go completely wide as Leona is going in on this play. Might try to find the Zenith play, does not feel confident enough, and it will back off. Did not want to flash E. Flash E is actually super unreliable. If that's like the max range thing you can do, go for it, I guess, but you gotta be able to get that kill for sure. And with Galio in the area, they don't want to go for that one as they do start up the Baron. Camille is pushing away on that bot lane, but does have that teleport available. See if they're able to get into this one. a great scout of the week, as that's going to be a shutdown onto the Graves, as that is just absolutely massive for Syndra. They are trying to keep going on in, but are they able to do so? Camille going to go over the wall. I believe she actually missed that hook shot, but it doesn't matter. Heroic Entrance will find a kill. Bullet Time going to swing as well, as they're doing just so much damage, but it's a 3 versus 3 still. But Misfortune's alive and pumping out the damage. So is the Jinx, though, and Jinx has slightly more range now. The Misfortune allowed to get in there, but that's going to be a huge shield. She's just trying to walk past the Braum, finds the triple, finds the quadra, I believe, unless someone stole away. There it is, a quadra kill for the Misfortune, as they're going to actually look to try to end the game off of this. I don't think that's possible, though. Graves is up very soon. Could at least find a kill onto one, but they're not able to find the Baron either. So everything just kind of resets right after this, as this is gonna be one of those games.
Yo, get ready for a banger, baby. That was so big by Armrob on this MF, just picking up so much kills right there. Gets the quadra, and the way that he actually turned it was so patient, and they just played so well around him, right? Like, at first I'm like, bro, you're dead. Like, they're definitely on top of you. Like, everybody is gunning for this MF. Everybody's gunning for the Syndra as well. But you see how they burned everything on Teemo at the very start. And then when it came time for them to turn onto the side of Syndra, onto the MF, they didn't have enough damage right there. And they just played it so well on the side of G7 Mirage. They aren't able to actually pick up the Baron, and look at this. They got a Death Brush set up in this bot side jungle. And Glacial Esports says, okay, we're going to go ahead and take away some of this vision right here, but all the shrooms on this Baron, and look at this. They're looking for it right here.
Yeah, they are gonna go for this play as they managed to find a great kill onto the Jinx. Is that going to be enough, though? They're pushing in even further, trying to find a little bit more, perhaps, as they're going to be able to take away this inhib pretty easily on top of that as well. As they're backing out now, maybe gonna start walking up towards that Baron. Are they able to take it, though? Maybe Dragon's a little bit better. Don't want the team with the Jinx, even if you are winning these fights right now. Having Jinx's team be at soul point feels a little bad. If you get Baron, essentially, you need to be able to end with it. If you think that you can end with this objective, then that's the only time I think it's worth in terms of giving up the Dragon for it. But they're not even going for the Dragon. They actually want this fight. See how that goes. Oh, the flash stun, but does miss the solar flare. Is it enough, though, for her side to win? The Bolt Time comes through as she's going to die, but the rest of her team is thriving. Misfortune may have gone down, but Syndra gets one, gets another as well. Double kill for the mid laner of G7M. It's now popping, trying to get into the pit. Is maybe going to be seen, might just barely get out of this one, but Teemo's going to spot him out and says, oh, hey, buddy, flash forward the Q. All the damage coming through. Popping has to try to run away. Damage is ticking down to the DOT. Is it enough? This guy's going to hit. A great job from Steel City Warrior to secure that kill for her team. Hecate is going to take it, though, unfortunately, but either way, that's still going to be a great series of events for the side of G7M. They get the Dragon on top of it all. One more for Soul, but they got Baron. They got everything they wanted in that fight.
Yo, nice job. They invested so much taking out Armrob on this MF. They said, hey, it's time to pay the price. It's time to pay what you owe. They get a big shutdown, but yo, the Syndra was so big. The Teemo was so big. And I like that they recognize, hey, we don't outscale these guys. They have Camille Jinx. Like, we don't outscale. We have to be pushing that Baron down every single time. This is why you see them putting so much prio on this Baron. They know that they don't outscale this team. So they're trying to constantly force these fights, constantly make it so that it's Glacial Esports walking up, trying to stop them. If ever it comes down to like kind of a farm sort of thing, like Glacial Esports just win because they do have this Jinx that is so strong, that's playing so well. So they said, hey guys, and I think you talked about it before that big fight where they just said, hey, you know what? We need to win right here. We need to get this Baron. We need to set up a big siege and get everything that we can for it. So they've already knocked down that mid inhib, and I want to say they're probably going to just group 5 or 4 mid, and you know, maybe they want to send Syndra down to the bot side. Unfortunately, she doesn't have TP up, so I think she's actually going to just stick with everybody on this top side and see if they can push down this top inhib as everybody is trying to figure out, you know, where they are. Nice objective control, nice vision control set up by this side of G7 Mirage as well.
Yeah, for sure. As this top lane tower will go down with that Baron buff. We'll see if they're able to get a little bit more off of it as well. But maybe Glacial Esports want to look for the play, but they're just not able to find it. Leona is trying to play the flank, but if she plays it a little too aggressively, could get caught out. Is going to regroup with the rest of her team. Probably play for Peel as now Poppy is taking her turn, walking forward. Scatter is going to hit, but it's onto the Braum, and they don't feel comfortable diving that man at all. Don't think that one's worth, and I can't blame them. So we'll see if they're able to siege this one down. No one really picking up that minion wave, though. There it is.
What they're doing here. Just play it slow. Let the cannon minions actually knock down this turret. And look at this. This is going to be a big fight here.
Oh, but they do get that W out of the Poppy. That could be huge. A lot of ultimates have been used by the side. A lot of cooldowns in general have been used by the side of G7M. Are they able to get in there is the question. Is the hook shot up before the Poppy W? If it is, that could be a massive play for the side of Glacial Esports, but they don't want to go for it. Or they're trying to, but G7M does not want to give them the space to do so, as that Shroom does do a decent little bit of damage to that Jinx. They don't have that Baron anymore, but they do have a wave. They're looking for this inhib. They're walking in with it. Misfortune doing so much damage to that Braum. Braum saving his E, wants to use it on the bullet time, but the scatter is going to not find its mark. As the flash Zenith blade, bullet time finally comes through. Braum is not able to get any of that damage away from his team with his shield, as the rest of G7M just are running through Glacial Esports. A double kill for the Misfortune. Syndra going forward, trying to find the damage as well. The E comes through from the Braum. Is it enough for now? It is. There he goes. He gets wiped out of the fountain from that scatter of the week. And now the rest of G7N pushing in to the base, pushing down these Nexus towers, and will be able to take the Nexus and take game number 1.
Yo, clean ace coming out from the side of G7 Mirage. Ends up winning that by about 10k, give or take, and what a nice display by the returning champs of G7 Mirage. They played that so well, and the way that Syndra, MF just combined together to just set that off, they basically just covered each other so well, and it was hyper impressive because at first I'm like, man, like the Jinx was actually starting to scale. The Jinx was looking really solid, but you saw the way that G7 Mirage just capitalized, the way they just said, no, this is our game 1. We want this dub, and they absolutely took it right there. Great job. And yeah, going forward, I mean, I don't really know what to do on the side of Glacial Esports because their draft was really solid. So G7 Mirage just had a different idea, a different plan, and they just executed it. And that MF was just so big.
Yeah, I think that execution just has to be a little bit better from the side of Glacial Esports. Yes, they were able to get some fights won, but after I think the main thing also is they need to not give up as much early, which is really hard with that comp because you are playing a lot of losing lanes, especially with that Jinx in the bot lane not able to get rolling. And if she's not able to get rolling, and Syndra's able to be fed, Teemo's allowed to be fed, and Misfortune, all 3 of them are threats, then your idea of diving the backline gets a lot more difficult. I honestly think the Teemo kind of saves it. If you have a Teemo, if instead of the Teemo you have like a tanky top laner, I think it's a lot easier to deal with because you're able to deal with that Syndra and the Misfortune without worrying about another damage threat also doing damage or just hitting you for free. So we'll have to see how Glacial Esports react in game number 2 here.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just looking at these damage charts, right? Like, the MF had a little bit of a rough time on that early game. It wasn't necessarily quite as snowbally as you want for MF, but still ends up with almost 28,000 damage on the end of that, the most damage in the game. Syndra was second at 24, almost 25k. And when we're looking at Jinx, like, Jinx was the biggest damage carry on the side of Glacial Esports at 18, so significantly less than the side of MF, but this is something that you kind of expect when you're hyper scaling Jinx, you know. And early on it did look like, you know, the Jinx pick was, they had invested so much into getting kills on the side of Jinx, and if we remember, she was actually ahead in kills there for a little bit. I want to say MF was like 0-1 or something like that when Jinx
yeah. So she was 1-3, and I think, or maybe she was 1-2 and Jinx was 1-0. It was going pretty bad for CS
too. Yeah, the MF, but I mean, we just see the power of MF, and I keep telling everybody, every cast that I talk about, I just say, yo, like, MF is so strong. I say Lucian is really strong as well. So MF is just so big right now. Like, if you're not first picking her, you need to be banning her, and this is one of those things on the side of Glacial Esports. They had to learn it the hard way. They thought the Braum might neutralize the MF, but in the end, like, it just didn't.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have to see how Glacial Esports respond in game number 2. But before we see that, we're going to go ahead and send it over to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
we go. And hello, welcome back to the Analyst Desk. After that bloodbath of a game where G7 Mirage was able to take the win off of the Glacial Esports. My fellow casters, what do you guys think about that game?
I would
It
just
was
say. Oh, okay.
Let you go first.
Go
No,
ahead,
you got it.
take it. I was just going to say I really like the way that they played around, the MF and the Teemo, and the Syndra just did such a good job on that early to mid game to kind of bridge together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of that success came from their damage threats. Usually I do like to give credit where credit's due for like some of the engage, but a lot of the engage did in fact still come from the mid lane. You did see a lot of those scatters hit their marks and did just a lot of damage as a result of usually scatter of the week. There was that one play at the end of the game that kind of forced them into the base, the Flash Zenith Blade from Leona that you can give credit to, but for the most part, it was actually the Syndra who was just absolutely popping off in game at number 1.
No, there's one thing I have to say. Can we talk about that Teemo damage? How he did, I think the third or second most damage on his team when he was only like 3, 8, and 11.
Yeah, I mean that's just Teemo damage. I mean, dots will do that to you. That's just how it goes.
Do you think Glitch Esports is going to ban the Teemo or the Syndra this next game?
I could see the Syndra ban coming through for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The Teemo ban, if it bothers them that much, maybe, but then you're also giving up at least one of the bans from the last game, which were also pretty strong picks. I mean, you give the top laner Gangplank and things get pretty dicey for you. I can't quite remember what else I think they banned away Lilia, so you couldn't. The Lee Sin is a good one too. I think I do think you can get rid of the Lee Sin. I think you can kind of toss that one because I think you do want to add one of those champions to the ban list, especially because of how blindable Syndra is specifically. And speaking of blinds, the amount that Teemo can dish out is also very annoying, and getting rid of that champion, I'm not blame them for that one either.
You saw that damage he was doing to Graves, like in the last fight where Teemo was running down Graves. Is this like what? Like why?
It's a fun champion to play against. That's all I gotta say with that one.
We are in draft, by the way. They're going really, really quick. It's Syndra.
No one told me.
Yeah, Syndra, Shin, and Kindred. So Syndra and Shin just.
And then I would get started for you.
All right.
Absolutely.
Syndra and Shin are coming up from the side of Glacial Esports, who have elected to take blue side again. And then on the side of G7 Mirage, we still get the Kindred and the Zig. So Glacial Esports do elect to actually take away that Syndra. I think they might take away the Teemo as well. I feel like Teemo is actually stronger than Syndra, even though the side of G7 Mirage piloted that Syndra so well. Yeah, they are going to take away the Teemo, leave that GP up. I feel like if they take GP right here, you can still like Camille, and you can actually dumpster GP as Camille as long as you play it well.
Yeah, I definitely think that's their thought process is they're like, all right, we can definitely play against. I like that as well. However, Graves is also up, so you could take that one if you're G7 Mirage. But the Yuumi would also be. I do notice that I don't think Yuumi was banned at all last game, and we didn't see it picked up either, which is actually kind of sad because I mean it's good in terms of I like seeing quality gameplay, not Yuumi, but I mean. Yumi's just such a strong champion right now. I feel like these teams would be able to pilot a team comp with a Yuumi fairly easily, but they don't elect to go for it.
Honestly, I really don't like Yuumi. Like, even though we talked about like how she works out and everything, like it just sacrifices so much in the lane phase. They still probably could, but I do like the MF and I like the Leo paired with it. We saw it on the other side, on the side of G7 Mirage. Like MF right now is just so big, and that bullet time with that consistent CC coming out from the Leona is just so big, and it gives you a nice lane phase as well. The problem with Yuumi is it just sacrifices so much in the lane phase. What Glacial Esports is saying is, on G7 Mirage actually had winning lane lanes basically everywhere, and we weren't able to actually compete with it. So this is going to be a Jax coming out to match the Camille. So this is a skill matchup as well. G7 Mirage, they actually do play a lot of Kai'Sa. That is a main for them, but at the same time, like Kai'Sa can struggle. She can struggle into MF. Now, at the same time, Kai'Sa can absolutely win against MF as well, just because of the nature of her passive, doing so much bonus damage when you get that proc going. So I like what's going on right here. And now G7 Mirage has had, I would actually kind of like Trundle right here. They do go to the Sejuani. I think they should probably ban away Trundle as well. But at the same time, maybe Glacial Esports aren't going to go to a Trundle or something like that in the jungle. I just feel like the way Trundle looks into a Camille and a Sejuani right here, it looks really big. And G7 Mirage could have taken the same thing because you got MF and Jax, right? So I do kind of like the way both of these comps are going, right? Like they have a lot of engage, they have a lot of damage and follow-up. We're going to see that Poppy taken away again. And there goes a Kennen, another really solid pick. And look at this, they're just banning out the Lilia again. Says, you don't play Lilia even though we just see the Jax up. So they might think that Lilia might be a pivot to the jungle.
Yeah, and I just really like Lilia with Misfortune specifically. Lilia
True,
Sleep, is not. I'm pretty sure everybody else already knows this, but for those of you who don't, Lilia's Sleep is not interrupted by bullet time damage because it's technically DOT, I guess is like what it was, which is dumb. I think that should be considered a bug, but maybe they just want to keep it in the game. Who knows? Maybe they'll change that at some point, because that's a pretty nice synergy that they could have going on with Lilia, but they take it away. Either way, as I do like the Braum ban as well, coming out from the other side, coming out from Glacial Esports, making sure they don't use that shield against them, against their Misfortune. Although it didn't seem to work out last game.
This is a really interesting comp by the side of G7 Mirage. I do like Viego. He is super nice with the resets, but now they are really AD heavy. So they're going to need a big AP threat on the side of Glacial Esports. But when I was just going to say, when we look at G7 Mirage, they have Sejuani Gragas. So is that going to be Gragas top, Sejuani Gragas support? Like, it's such a weird pick coming in on that before R4. And I'm just wondering where that's going to go. And Kale as a late game insurance threat. So that's probably going to be Kale mid, and Tryndamere would be nice right here, actually. But they're going to opt for the Singe.
Is that... I'm concerned, because that's Singed mid. If... That's the only thing... I guess that could be Singed support. And you could run Gragas mid...
I think, honestly, this is what I'm thinking.
God.
Wherever Kale is going, I think that's where you should actually send the Camille, because Kale gets dumpstered by Camille because Camille can engage so hard on you. Kale struggles into anybody with hard engage that can just like jump on you, right? I don't necessarily like the Singed into Kale. It can work, but at the same time, you're almost coin flipping it. So if I'm the side of G7 Mirage, I'm like, bro, like wherever Kale is going, that's where Camille goes. Even if it's mid, like I don't care. Like follow the Kale, you get fed off of that. And at the same time, like I'm looking at the Jax, like if it's Jax in the Singe, like okay, I don't necessarily like that pick for the Singe, but I mean it can work as well. So G7 Mirage, they have a lot of interesting picks coming out, right? And I haven't actually seen this lineup before, so I'm seeing how they actually execute this, how they actually play around these sort of picks, because it's not standard. Like it started off kind of standard, and then with the Gragas Singe, like it just went into something completely different on the side of G7 Mirage. And then on the side of Glacial, they have a lot of scaling. Once again, they kind of deviated to the scaling sort of comp, but they do have the MF to hopefully win lane and get started to actually, you know, be that bridge so that they can come online with the Jax and the Kale. I think at the same time though, they kind of fell for the same trap that they did into game one, where they drafted too much maybe in the side of scaling. And G7 Mirage, like they still have scaling, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they have more early game pressure that can counter the side of Glacial Esports, except for the bot lane anyway. I would say that MF into Kai'Sa, like the MF should be able to deal with Kai'Sa well, unless there's an early game.
Yeah, for sure. Misfortune should make short work of that Kai'Sa in the bot lane. Don't see that one going very well. I imagine the client draft is sorted. I'm not
I'm
100%
loading,
sure.
I'm getting it right now.
Alright, gotcha. No problem. As do see actually I can't believe I didn't see this. I do agree that Camille should go to wherever Kale is. Because what we're seeing in the Camille right now is Camille, if she goes top, will likely be laning against Jax, and that's not what you want. Jax actually shuts down Camille super hard, in my opinion. I think Jax murders Camille, especially if I think if both people are evenly skilled, or if even Jax is a little bit more unskilled than the Camille, or a little bit weaker than the Camille in terms of player skill in general. I think the Jax still wins because his champion is just a perfect counter to the Camille.
Yeah,
So-
Camille is going mid against the kill, like I kind of thought. Like
Okay.
Camille, they flexed it, so it's going to be the Singe versus the Jax. Sejuani in that jungle, Camille mid, Kaisa, and then Gragas support. So it's actually a really interesting bot side. Like I feel like if you really needed a disengage on that bot lane, instead of Gragas, like you could have actually pivoted to a Rel, like we talked about earlier. Rel Kaisa is actually so good. So it's really interesting to see, you know, Gragas right here, especially on the side of Leo. So anytime Leo goes in, you're gonna get that big old belly bop. That's not the name of it, but I like calling it that by Gragas. And so I am liking the draft by G7 Mirage, but at the same time, it is gonna come down to a lot of execution, a lot of, you know, kind of outscaling sort of these things, except for mid. Like, because Singe into Jax, like if Singe actually falls behind, like Jax can just snowball off of you, right? And then he's super strong, and then the only person that could deal with him is Camille, and that's only if she actually snowballs as well. So Jax could be a super big threat on this top side, and I want to see how this Viego Poppins is actually going to pay attention to the Jax on the top side. Maybe he can get him snowballing, but at the same time, maybe he wants to pay attention to the bot side to get the MF snowballing. I don't know. Either way though, Kaidazur was a big threat on the Galio last game. This time he's on Kale, and he's not going to be nearly as big as a threat as he was in game 1. So it's interesting that they pivot to a Kale in this game too.
Yeah, pivoting to that Kale, definitely an interesting decision. I will say if they are able to get to that end game, it's pretty solid then, but if you're not able to get there, things get a lot more rough for you.
Yeah.
It's just all about playing for level 16. It's Kale, Casta, that's always going to be your game plan. And if you can't, I mean, the good news though is we touched on this earlier, you do have a winning bot lane, so you are kind of set up to do that. It's just, can Camille dumpster Kale hard enough in the lane?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays off. And I'm still wondering about the Singe. Like, I think Singe is actually a pretty solid pick right now. After those changes went through, you know, where his R gives like grievous wounds or whatever, and he has grounding. So like, if he's actually engaging on anybody, you know, like it can be really difficult to actually get away when you have Singe Camille running at you with the Sejuani as well. So there's a lot of interesting utility coming out from the side of G7 Mirage, but at the same time, like Glacial Esports says, we have utility too, but we also have better scaling.
Yeah, for sure. I do like the scaling that they have from Kaisa specifically. I just think Kale scales so hard. Misfortune if she goes crit though, will scale way harder as well. Or not harder, but she can match the scaling of Kaisa, but you need to go crit if you want to be able to match Kaisa in the bot lane, I'd say. Other than that, I'm not sure how well Singed does in terms of scaling. I feel like he can be a really annoying tank to deal with, especially given the tools. They have a lot of... Jax has a lot of abilities to use that Q, the E for the stun. The rest of his team can catch up, so Singed may just be pretty killable in this one.
Yeah, I mean, we're about to get into the game here pretty soon. I don't know if we want to go for a break or if we're just...
Yeah, absolutely. I believe we also have predictions open, so while you guys get those in... Yeah, absolutely. Get those in, and while you guys do that, we're gonna go ahead and throw it to a short break. So we'll be back in just a few short minutes. Everybody, welcome back to game number 2 of the series between Glacial Esports and Gang 7 Mirage. Once again, we have Glacial Esports on the blue side and Gang 7 Mirage on the red side. And I didn't mention this last time, but thank goodness Glacial Esports is the blue side, because that's like color coordination, and we always love it when that happens. So we'll see what these teams can do. Standard, it was not really a standard 5-point. They're actually looking for an invade mid lane. We're able to get it though, spotted out by that kill. Knowing exactly where to stand. Did not happen when I played a game solo queue. Mid laner didn't stand in the right place and just snuck in, and or the entire other team snuck in, and we all died. It was a great time.
It's really interesting that this Singe goes for the Predator. I haven't really seen Predator on Singe before, so I'm going to be really interested to see how this top lane matchup is going to go. And I like what Steel City Warrior did right here. You know, we talked about it earlier, but making sure that the Camille matches that kill, and the kill, you know, can be in a lot of trouble early. Like, if I'm the side of Glacial Esports, I'm telling Kaiser, like, yo, can we lane swap? Can we switch Grand Canyon to mid side? And it doesn't look like they're doing that just yet. It looks like it's going to be that blue start, and they did switch. Okay, there we go.
They're doing it.
Nice. Okay, this is smart.
That was exactly what you do. As now, the issue I have with this though, right, is that Grand Canyon is in a much more gankable spot. Yes, he is still safer. So maybe this actually does work out for them a little bit more. Singe, though, is like, I really don't care who you send to me. I can probably have a decent enough time against one. When they send Kale up, it actually becomes very winnable for Singe, unless he takes the tower shot and gets to about a quarter HP. But hopefully that doesn't keep happening.
Well, I mean, the problem with Singe is early on, he can be very, very coin flippy. Like, he can do damage for sure, but he also isn't tanky just yet, right? So,
Exactly.
So Kale does still. She actually has more kill pressure on him in general, and it's nice that Kale is freezing this lane. You know, you have to make sure that the Singe is pushing in, and he can't proxy the wave. Anytime that the Singe is proxying the wave, like, we're gonna have to make sure that, hey, we call over Poppinge on this Viego to actually break this freeze, because otherwise now Kale is going to be taking all that damage from the tower. And I like what Silva's doing on this MF, putting a lot of pressure onto the Kaisa.
Yeah, great double ups coming out, as the Zenith Blade will come out as well, but a great body slam from Havoc, able to cancel that one. Whenever the Zenith Blade, I think, has to go in onto the Gragas, and if it goes on anybody else, it's pretty doomed for the play. Sejuani's actually
Okay,
down.
TP.
Yeah, TP as well. Great double body slam as the teleport will start coming through, but it's so late. Silva's already dead, as now Purple Ninja trying to survive the Q. A double kill for I'm Rob, and that's not what you want to see. But now Grand Canyon trying to find the response is not able to do so. Popping getting very low. Shouldn't go down. A triple kill for I'm Rob. Oh my god. Disaster in the bot lane, as now in the top lane. Camille trying to do damage to this. Hey, that's not where you were, Camille. You were in the mid lane. Looks like she runs up the top lane though when Singed goes away. As now Kale saying, all right, let's switch again.
Yo, I love it. I love the way G7 Mirage are playing around this Kaisa. Like, we talked about, hey, MF can actually beat the Kaisa, and it looked like they were doing it, right? But as soon as Sejuani came down, made that wraparound gank to capitalize on Silva and Purple Ninja overextending, they paid for it with their lives, hitting a big stun, and the Kaisa gets the triple kill. And look at this. Best Turtle is in a lot of trouble trying to get this turtle. Scuttle.
Yeah, as now Glacial Esports trying to respond as... Best Turtle is absolutely dead. No way he survives. Teleport did come through from Steel City Warrior, just not able to get in there. As this went exactly the opposite I thought this would. I thought they would have a lot of bot pressure for the side of Glacial Esports, be able to find a play for themselves there. Meanwhile, the top side would be the focus for Gang 7 Mirage. That did not happen at all. Steel City Warrior though going in for some damage, might be able to find a kill. Doesn't actually have the ignite. Could look for it. Kinda sure trying to survive. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, this is nothing. This is not a kill. So that makes me think top lane's gonna be boring as well. Yeah. Nothing's happening though quite yet. As Sejuani is in the area, they could be looking for the play. Viego going in, trying to find that damage. Hookshot is going to miss as a great flash comes in from the Viego to force that miss. As now Graga is trying to find the damage as well, as things start slowing on down.
No, I like what G7 Mirage are doing right here. They're making sure that the Camille is following the kill. And look at this invade by Best Turtle. Getting that deep vision down. Jax is here, though. Sejuani might be in trouble. And a TP is coming in.
Yeah, TP coming in from the side of the Kale. She's not going to provide too much besides that speed and a little bit of damage. She's just so weak early. Stuns come through. As if they can get more CC, it could be good. But the hook shot is dangerous as now Kaidajur is taking a lot of damage. Singe just running up though as Jack says, oh hello, I'm gonna try to chase you, as that could be a mistake as no, they're getting so much CC down on him and he is burst. As you said before, he is not tanky yet, so he goes down in the river.
Yeah, Hecate mask off. He tried to go in. He's like, I'm helping, guys. I'm helping. I want to help out. And yeah, no, he ends up kind of inting over a kill right there. Unfortunately, you know, the way that they were positioned, his team wasn't actually able to join in. They had already burned most of their stuns, most of their CCs and all that sort of things. So when they collapsed right there, he was just dead to rights. And look at this. Viego is still here on the top side and more damage coming over. And this is a nice 2v2.
Yeah, great hook shot though, and so much damage coming through from Steel City Warrior. If that stun misses, which it does, Papang will die. There he goes. Best Turtle is going to be able to pick that one up for himself as well. So now Kale has to run away, has to respect the fact that she can die if she stays. As now Havoc going in for the body slam does not quite find it, as will take a lot of damage as a result as he backs up. Does not take as much as I thought he would, honestly. Purple Ninja now playing for that Zenith Blade, playing for something here. But I believe Misfortune calls him off as they're going to see the mid laner singed on the ward. I'm not even sure what he's supposed to be anymore. I'm pretty sure he's acting as the mid laner now, though. As they get some damage down, start running away.
Believe it or not, Singe has, I want to say, even though he has like a 0.09 or 0.9% pick rate mid, I think he has like a 53% win rate mid. Like, don't quote me on that. It's like 52 or 53. Like, he actually works out really well in the mid lane. And even though it's not seen very often. So look at this Kaisa though. She's so big. 300. It's got that 300 gold bounty. And yeah, it's 7 minutes in. So the Herald is about to be up and the Dragon just spawned as well. I like what Turtle did right there. He actually invaded, picked up that blue buff on the side. He actually took the blue buff away from Glacial Esports right there when that Kale had to back away after, you know, all that damage came down. So a lot of proactivity. I like what we're seeing. And when we're looking at Popping, or I don't know how to say his name necessarily, but when we're looking at this Viego pick, he's 2-2-0, and I like the freeze, by the way, also. But this next Dragon is probably going to be the focus right here. So if I'm Rob, I'm probably going to try to push this in since the MF and Leo just backed away.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see what the side of Glacial Esports can do about this Dragon. Doesn't look like it. I mean, Popping could maybe steal it away. Is going to... they have no vision in it. Does have that sweeper going, though. As will not be able to spot out that this is happening, as it's going to go down very slowly but surely over to the side of Gang 7 Mirage. As you mentioned the low pick rate but high win rate of Singed Mid, and there's kind of a reason for that. I don't know if it's this patch as well, but before, when they were prepping for Worlds, Faker was actually playing a lot of Singed Mid as a response to Tryndamere Mid, which was working pretty well, and he was actually spamming it in ranked. So that's probably one of the reasons we're seeing that. As now Rob, a great sidestep, but is it enough? Bull time is coming down the ultimate as well from Rob to get out of there. So much damage coming through. Silva does get body slammed up though. As now, yeah, she is in the areas. Now Grand Canyon taking so many tower shots. Silva has been ulted by the Sejuani. Sejuani is on the hunt as now Kaisa could walk up and just auto away the kill, but Sejuani's going to be able to pick that one up for herself and will start leaving. As meanwhile in the top lane, that will be Rift Herald going over to Glacial Esports as a response. But I mean, Gang 7 Miracle just come up massive once again in the bot lane.
Yo, Rob played that so well. He didn't even burn his flash for there. Like, he got stunned up, Chain CC, Steel City Warrior.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Could get stunned up, does get stunned up, Steel City Warrior, in fact, going in, trying to find that damage as Singe is just running away, doing his job and doing it well, as they are able to pick off the jungler of the side of Glacial Esports.
Yeah, G7 Mirage. Everything is coming up. G7 Mirage right here. 6 kills to 2. They're already up about 3K already, and it's only 10 minutes in. Like, this is actually snowballing so well. On the side of G7 Mirage, the Kaisa is ahead. The Sejuani is always there, always making a place. Even the Singe is getting in on it as well. We see leads everywhere. All the CS is on favor of the side of G7 Mirage, and Kaiser is trying to keep this wave from crashing. I think he's actually going to pull it off, but you still have to be careful to not overstep, because Steel City Warrior at level 8, he has that sheen. He absolutely can kill you.
Yeah, it does have to get through that ultimate of the KO though. And that's a pretty important one, so the dive will not really be possible at the very least. Actually, looking for that trade is rather favorable. The hook shot is used defensively as Camille manages to get away, maybe trying to bait Kale into going for a little bit more. Sejuani could have come in, got something there. As now Singe just running in, poisoning up the minions as he flips away the Jax.
Big damage.
Yeah, a lot of damage down onto the Singe, but Singe going back in now. Oh, the miss from the Sejuani, the flash forward. The auto attack comes through from the Jax. Now Jax is trying to brawl the Sejuani, but she's just too tanky. Doesn't even have the steel caps yet, but is still winning that fight. Meanwhile, the ultimate comes out from the Gragas. Is not able to find the kill onto the Leona. Leona just just able to mitigate too much of that damage. As now we do see Viego in the bot lane, looking for something, looking for an angle. Might charge up that W.
They know he's here. They know he's here.
Oh,
yeah, there's a ward right there. He walked right through it, so they know he's here. But they're still walking up. This is going to be crazy.
Yeah, they're probably expecting Singe to be able to TP here, and there it is. They do, in fact, go in Zenith Blade going down, as well as that Solar Flare, as I'm Rob just gets shut down. Teleports coming in all across the map. That's going to be 5 members in the bot lane for the side of Glacial Esports. Steel City Warrior does get out of there, though. Sejuani takes a bit of a greedy path and has to flash out as Popping gets flipped back under the tower. Popping has fallen, as that's going to end up being a 1 for 2. Oh no, we're just 1 for 1, sorry. I thought I saw Havoc and the corner of my eye had fallen, but no. I counted right in my head that there were 4 people alive and just did not respect it. As we'll see the rest of Glacial Esports start backing off here after getting a decent play for themselves.
Okay,
maybe not, though. Yeah, just a little bit is running away as fast as he can. The question is, will he be caught up to the KO taking so much, or not actually a lot of damage here, as we'll be able to start getting some of that back with the Jax. Jax trying to find that stun. A double stun for him, but Havoc's running out, trying to find the body slam. Not a lot of mana on Kite Azure. Is not going to be able to pump out those spells, and as a result, the rest of G7 are able to start backing off here. Grand Canyon, though, still wants more. Steel City Warrior coming in with that hook shot. Hook shot is just barely going to miss. It's Mark the ultimate onto Popping, though. Popping will be hit with that explosive cask as well. Goes down, and now G7M finally find their footing once again after getting a kill right in the topside jungle.
Oh, they want more. It's not over. Their pings are going down.
I guess not. They still want to keep going as the Kaiser's trying to do as much damage as possible, but there's just no cooldowns that they really have that they can use. The engage is all but expended for the side of G7M as they start backing off here. Misfortune trying to walk up. Could be caught out here if they know that she's there, but it doesn't look like they do. Instead, they're going to start up this dragon. Could be another fight incoming.
Yep. Okay.
Zenith Blade will just barely swing wide. Steel City Warrior feels comfortable walking right alongside them. Sejuani's going to be able to secure that dragon. As now, Leona could look for the Solar Flare. There it is. As the stun could go down onto Kaisa. Kaisa forced a flash over the wall. Good respect from her. As now, Best Turtle OCE is going to fall in her own jungle. Shutdown comes in for Silva in the bot lane.
Yeah, Silva said it's time to pay what you owe, Best Turtle. You owe me some money. That's going to be an extra 150 gold bounty going over to Silva. Has all that Kraken Slayer complete. And yeah, that was such a drawn out, long sort of scrappiness going on all over a dragon, I guess. So it started off on the bot side, and Rob's taking a lot of damage. Silva's going to take something on. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Silva's taking a lot of damage too. The ult in from the Kaisa. Kaisa doing as much damage as he can, but there's just too much from Silva. The base damage too high. The Kraken Slayer also is just chewing through this Kaisa. If Kaisa had her mythic, it would have been doable, but she does not, as now Havoc in a bad situation does use that explosive cask, will be stunned up. Damage is coming through as now Misfortune's walking up. One more auto how to do it. There it is. As they find that Gragas easy peasy lemon squeezy in the bot lane. As now this gold lead that they had, they were set up for success with 3 early kills on Kaisa, and now it's just all gone.
Yeah, G7 Mirage playing a little loose, a little disrespectful. When we look at this river, how it's all controlled by the Glacial Esports squad, they have so much vision. So every time that you walk through this bot side river, it's actually spotted out. And look at this collapse on Kaiser kill.
Ultimate's going to come out of the Sejuani as they're doing as much damage as possible, but the ultimate comes out of kill as well. Now, the Singe going to flip her back as that's going to be the poison coming through, but guess who's here? It's Viego's. Now the Sejuani going to try... Oh, no, Masket is... Alright, well, I don't think that was the idea that you wanted to do. I think you give that over to Viego before you give that over to Kale 100% of the time. But that's okay.
Turtle might be caught out here. Look at this. He's trapped.
We're not waiting. No. Oh, if he was able to Q over the wall and get to that blast plant, it could have been good. But does he save that Q to get away from the Jax stun? And it will do a good job of doing so. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, trying to find their first tower of the game for the side of G7M. Had first tower stolen away from them in the bot lane as they're going to be able to take that one for themselves now. Top lane also very low, though. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and I mean, it when we're looking at the side of G7 Mirage, like the way that they had to start it up on that bot side, they had so much potential on this Kai'Sa. Didn't actually get that mythic complete yet. I like what we're seeing out of Glacial to start this up, and we might see another fight. Like, G7 Mirage doesn't want to give anything
great
up.
Flash body slam into Popping, but it's just not enough. The Solar Flare is going to hit the Gragas as the flip does come through. It's a lot of damage coming through as they will get the Rift Herald as well. Technically, Steel comes out from the Sejuani as the fight also comes through after that. That's a 3-0 G7M as they were squandering their lead, but they were like, our bad guys, we'll stop throwing, and they just immediately punch right
this
back.
Is a dive.
This is a dirty dive that could happen as that's going to be Silva going down very quickly. There it is. Gragas is going to pick that up. Kai'Sa does not have ultimate available. Will go down as a result. This Rift Herald is going to charge once again. That's going to be so much damage. They were going to get this inner turret even. That's going to be so much gold going into the pockets of G7M.
Yo, they're snowballing it so well. Like, they were playing a little loose there, but yo, they just said, guys, let's make sure that we contest this. And the way that I'm Rob is playing on this Kai'Sa, the way that Steel City Warrior is playing on this, they are coming up so big. So much resources are invested on them, and they're making sure to take everything that they can. Taking all the kills, taking all the towers, taking all the cookies, baby. And we got G7 Mirage at what, almost 6K gold ahead right here at 17 minutes. And we got 50 seconds until that Ocean Dragon spawns. And the way that G7 Mirage are actually playing right here, as soon as this Baron comes up, I feel like it's going to be repeat of game one, where they just start up the Baron and make Glacial Esports come to them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the name of the game. Try to bait them towards you a little bit and clap back. We'll see if that ends up going well for them. I do want to get a look at the gold if we can. I know that's on your end. And I also just, for stream, would be pretty solid as well. Because I'm very curious to see just how ahead each individual member is. So we'll see if they're able to keep progressing this lead. By the way, gold lead is X for you, Chris. I don't know if you knew that necessarily. Thank you so much, because we're actually seeing a fight breakout as well. We'll talk about the gold in just a second. It should be even better after this, even bigger anyway, as now Grand Canyon trying to fall back, but Kai'Sa is able to keep it locked down on the front line. But, oh my goodness, Steel City Warrior somehow survives that as Grand Canyon goes over the wall, will die, as everybody is just getting shredded. Popang is in, I'm gonna leave now, as now we can take a look at the gold. Popang is being hunted down. We'll see if he's able to make it out of this one. Mask off, going in, trying to find that damage as Popang gets flipped out of the blast plant and will be taken down very low. Kai'Sa is able to find that kill. Easy peasy as, all right, now we take a look at that gold. 1,200 sitting in the pockets of Kai'Sa. Was not like that before that. Was looking at least half that amount. Probably a little bit less than that. As Kai'Sa's about a 1k gold up on her lane opponent. Everybody's at least 1k gold up, I think. Yeah, most of them are actually 2k gold up, which is kind of gross. As
Yeah.
even the supports are 1K gold up. Oh my god.
I just want to highlight how well G7 Mirage are snowballing right here. They're layering CC so well. The coordination, having each other's back, and they have a death brush setup right here on this red. Like, it looked like they were actually going to get it turned around, right? And then you saw this big glacial fissure by Turtle, and look at this. Popping is in a lot of trouble.
No. Oh, he sees. He saw. He doesn't react in time, and he's dead. He's gone. As it was just the E, the Q from the Kaisa, and then an auto attack is all it really takes. And she said, I'm pretty sure there was also probably a W mixed in there that I just did not see. This Kaisa with Kraken Slayer is not to be trifled with. Teleport coming through, though. Grand Canyon trying to find that stun, but he's just taken so low. Might even die as well as damage is coming through. A good block from the Leona, making sure that W did not hit. That would have been so much damage. Might have even killed the Jax, as they will get that grounded down onto Leona. Leona not allowed to do anything. Nice. The bull time is coming through. Will be able to find themselves a kill onto the Sin. Shinj is down, but the rest of Glacial Esports is as well. Kaizo ulting in, trying to find damage to Leona. Last one left alive. Never mind. W comes through as Jax is back onto the field as well, but he will be going down if he tries to go in. Is just
They're going for the end.
Yeah, I mean, they can. And look at those death timers. They're 20 seconds at least. Papang's going to be the next one that comes up. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. These Nexus towers are just
They're going for it. They're going for the end.
Is going to go in, trying to get the stun down onto I'm Rob, is not able to do it. Just I'm Rob, as they're going to hit that Nexus tower next, as now they're onto the Nexus, as Papang has spawned, trying to get in there, but it's just going to be absolutely melted. Now, KO going in as well. Silva could have tried to save this game, but I think the Nexus would go down anyway. They managed to find the shutdown onto Kale as they finally hit that Nexus and take game number 2, one game away from closing out this series.
G7 Mirage came bringing the A game. They said, bro, we don't play for late. We play straight up snowball early game. They end that in 21 minutes and some change. They don't even need the Baron right there. Almost 22 minutes. So the way that they played and layered their CC together, right? Like the way that they covered each other was just so impressive. And just looking at it, it's like, man, like I wish I could play with this team because it looks so much fun, right? The way that they're staggering these cooldowns, the way that they're coming in with these TPs, it is hyper impressive watching this G7 Mirage team take on this Glacial Esports team that had been playing so well before, this game. And Glacial Esports keeps on playing for scaling, and G7 Mirage is just like, we don't do that. That's not the meta. So it's crazy watching how different these teams play. And going forward into this game 3, like Glacial Esports is probably going to have to say, you know what, we can't draft for scaling anymore, guys. Like we're not getting there. Like the first game was 30 minutes. This one is 21. So I definitely feel like G7 Mirage has figured it out how to actually out-rotate and actually, just take over every single point of contest of that Glacial Esports might be trying to get at. So I want to see Glacial Esports like just throw out the scaling. Like it's not working. The Jax, the Viego, the Kale, like throw all that out. Like let's go hard CC, let's go utility, but let's also go for something with a little bit more early game pressure in these solo laners.
Yeah, for sure. You gotta imagine Gang 7 Mirage definitely excited to get into game number 3, definitely antsy, wanting to ride this momentum, and since they are, definitely want to throw it to a break as soon as possible. So we are going to do just that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to the analyst desk. After that crazy of a game, G7 Mirage is saying that they are ready to be in the finals. They just need one more win, and they are going to finals.
Exactly.
Now, I have to give props. Camille did well, Kaisa did well, but man, that Singe.
Oh yeah.
He was all over the map. He was there. He was topside. He was midside. He was jungle. He was flipping everyone. There were sometimes he flipped things. He flipped the Viego off from the blast cone. I didn't know you could do that, but apparently you
Yeah,
can.
it's a fun time.
And then there was another time. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he flipped. I think it was Leona or someone into the Gragasol.
Yeah, it's the fact that they could combo that is pretty gross. I've seen some crazy stuff, but that is just
first
something else.
I have to say, this man first he ego picked the Teemo, then he ego picks the Singe.
To be fair, I actually think that was kind of a counter to the Jacks. I think that's what their idea was.
True.
So then, at least there's that. So yeah, I guess you could call maybe Teemo an ego pick into Camille because at least you can blind her Q. So I mean, there's some stuff there.
We're all asking.
Camille pretty
I
hard.
want to see it. Where's the Aurelion Soul? Is Aurelion Soul gonna pop out next? Like, am I gonna see the underdog champions coming out of nowhere? That's what I'm seeing tonight. First you have,
That'd be awesome.
Teemo's not really an underdog champion, I guess you can say.
Not anymore, no.
But
I mean,
Singe
you would
is.
think so. I think the first time you see it picked in like competitive play, you're like, "Whoa, Teemo, that's wild, that's so cool." And then you see it played, and you're like, "Oh no, that's broken. That's not funny. That's disgusting."
That's not funny. That's disgusting.
You're not memeing. You're awful. You're terrible. Why are you doing this to people? But it's a fun pick to watch. I have to admit, as much as I hate him.
The man has been playing AP all night. Do you think he's gonna pick another AP champion?
Maybe could look for that Gwen next to carry. Could look for some more, like a more tanky AP champion like that Mordekaiser. Could always go for that option. We'll have to see.
The pick that I'm actually.
There's one thing I want to see. I want to see the AP Volibear.
I don't think that's going to get picked.
Maybe not that one.
I don't think that's going to get picked. The pick that I'm actually looking at is Tom Kench. Like, I talk about it every time. Like, we already seen them take, Teemo, which is so good. Yeah, we see the Syndra, we see the Kindred. So the Syndra's not going to make its way in. But I think Tom Kench is actually a perfect answer to basically anything in the top side, even mid as well. Like, it is so busted right now. So nobody's actually picked it yet. So if I'm Glacial, I'm like, bro, like, take TK. You're going to be able to win lane versus essentially anybody. And that's going to be the Camille. And basically G7 Mirage says, hey, we're taking all the same picks. And Glacial are the ones changing it up.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, if you could go ahead and either switch your stream over to the draft or just send me the link, that'll be great because I cannot see it at the moment. But either way, I agree with you. The Tom Kench being picked up would be absolutely massive for either side. Glacial Esports picking it up would be pretty solid. I think they need to change something up more so than G7 Mirage do. I like the formula G7 Mirage are going for because it's just been working out real well.
I mean, G7 Mirage definitely has a different read on the meta, which is something similar to what I've been thinking. And there goes that first pick, AMF again, on the side of Glacial Esports, who's once again on this blue side. G7 Mirage is basically saying, we know that the meta is more skirmish heavy. We know that the meta is more about, dominating lane, rotating over, and making sure you get the kills. And here goes a Draven hover right here. It might get picked up. I don't know. They might want to style just for the end. And that is going to be that Draven locked in, followed up by that Zac for the side of G7 Mirage. But spicy as hell already coming out from the side of G7 Mirage.
Oh my. The Draven alone, they're really just trying to convince us. And they don't need to, but they are showing hey, we are the fun team. We are the team that everyone is going to be excited to watch. You think about it, they were former champions, so even if they are styling on these guys, it's also working really well for them. So if this Draven pick just absolutely stomps in this game as well, then I would say I don't know what Glacial Esports would be able to do next, but I mean, if they get stomped, it's over, right? So gonna have to see how this one goes as well with all these crazy picks coming through.
Yeah, and once again, they are going to pick up that Leona for the side of Glacial Esports. The Leo actually was looking really good. It was just everything else kind of messed up. And there goes a Yasuo pick. So here we go. Let's get hype, baby boy. That's going to be the Zac Yasuo combo, which is so hype. And you got the Draven as well. G7 Mirage is just coming out trying to style on everybody, saying, bro, tune in to us. We put up dubs and we make it fun to watch. And I'm super excited to see how this team actually plays with that Yasuo mid lane.
I'd be unbelievably happy if they picked Yone here. That would be, I think, you look at the most hype picks that they could pick alongside the Yasuo. I think that is it. Like, sure, you could pick Malphite with it and then have a great team fight, but like Yone, the Super Inting brothers would be beautiful to see. But I highly doubt we'll see that in a competitive game, because that would be it'd be a little troll, but it would be hype. That's what matters.
I don't know if it's troll. That's a pretty good matchup.
It pretty good. I meant Yone on the team for Yasuo, not against Yasuo, with Yasuo.
Oh,
yeah,
with Yasuo. Gotcha. So you're saying, what did you say? Where would they put him? Top, you think?
They would have to put him top. I guess they could put Yasuo top, maybe, but they throw Draven mid. They do like Yasuo Yone bot. They flex it even further. Just like.
Is that so? Is it Zac top? You think or Zac support? Oh, it's Yasuo. Wait, what?
No. I think it could be Zac top. I think Zac top makes the most sense here, and then Yasuo mid still. And that's fine.
What if it's Yasuo bot with Zac though? I've seen that, and it's actually.
But I mean, then you're putting Draven. They could flex it. I believe in G7 to flex it. That's the main thing. At this point, like, if anyone's watching only Game 3 and they're just tuning in now, they're like, "What the hell are you guys talking about? Are you guys trolling?" No, like you haven't seen what we've seen. Like, this could happen. I swear, we're not crazy, because G7's the crazy ones.
I like what Glacial is doing. Like, they're still going for something. They're still going for scale with the Aurelia. So Aurelia J4 scale. Kennen is kind of a mid-game champ. Same thing with MF, although she scales pretty decently as well. Not hyper scaling like they had been doing in Game 1 with the Jinx or whatever, but now they're set up to have a nice wombo combo, right? Like Kennen J4, Aurelia, MF, big damage, big team fight ultimates. But once again, it comes down to, like, can they actually compete with G7 Mirage with just how they snowball, how they play this early game? That's been the thing that's actually winning G7 Mirage these games. And it's not necessarily that they're necessarily playing team fights so much better than Glacial, although they are playing them very well. It's just that they've been able to get leads in lane. They've been able to actually out-rotate and just basically play for each other a little bit better. And then they take those little bitty small leads and then they transition them into really big leads when it comes to the team fights.
Yeah, absolutely. And the good news about the Silas pick for Glacial Esports is you didn't pick any champions on your team with big knock-up ultimates. However, you still gave Silas some solid options in Jarvan, Misfortune, Leona, and Kennen. I'd say not so much. I think Irelia's ult is pretty useless on Silas.
So Silas pick is kind of weird, but I mean, I think they're just saying, you know what, we want to play what we like right here and just have fun with it and see what happens. If you guys win this game, like, then maybe they'll try to, you know, draft a little bit more seriously. But this definitely looks like something that they're really kind of throwing down a gauntlet to Glacial Esports. They're saying, hey, you know what, if you can't beat us right here, you're not going to beat us at all, because this is going to be a 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, that does appear to be what they're saying right now. I could definitely see it happening.
A little bit of a disrespect, a little tad bit of the BM, but just a tad by G7 Mirage. But it's nice though. It's spicy. It's cool.
Yeah, and that's what matters. That's all you really care about, right? Is the spice coming into this third game. Now, I will say, this is both the best and the worst time to do it, because game 3, like, if you can get an early kill and you start finding a lot of early success, the mental at that point for a lot of teams will just shut down, and it becomes so much harder to work through that. You're already down to 0-2 from perspective of Glacial Esports. If you go down early in this, it just feels so devastating to try to fight through that. Whereas if you are able to get out to a hot start, find a lot of plays, make sure and like find that win, momentum can then shift in your favor. You go into the 4th game, maybe the other team is feeling a little tilted from their game, or even if they're not, you're still feeling energized from that last one, and maybe you are able to ride that momentum into game 4 and then push that even into a game 5, just like we saw yesterday. Actually, it's just that they weren't able to close out that reverse sweep. We'll see if, you know, that can be started in this game, and I think it is going to be it'll have to be off the back of just really solid team play, and you cannot give that early lead that you did to the Kaisa in game number 3, or in game number 2, sorry.
And I mean, the more I look at this G7 Mirage comp, the more I actually like it. I think they actually drafted, considering it's like Draven Yasuo, like we might say like, oh man, that's crazy, we don't see that very often. But I actually feel like the way that they put this together, I mean, the Ivern's actually super weird. But when we look at everything else, I think, okay, it's Zac bot. Okay, this makes more sense. I like this a lot more. No, keep the Zac bot. Okay, they're swapping around, they're trolling me, whatever. But anyway, like the way that this is set up, I feel like they have winning lanes top. I feel like mid should be a winning lane. I feel like bot can be a winning lane as well. So I think they drafted really well on the side of G7 Mirage on this red side. And, you know, the way that I'm looking at Glacial Esports, like they've drafted, once again, for this team fight, for a big wombo combo between the Ken, the Aurelia J4, AMF Ultimate. I mean, this is a lot of wombo when it gets to the 5v5, right? But once again, like we're looking at G7 Mirage as a sort of small sort of skirmishy fight. Like they're looking at not so much 5v5, but more like, how do we play the 2v2? How do we play, you know, 3v2s and things like that? How can we re-engage and start up fights this way, and also win close fights in general? So they have a lot of tools at their disposal to make sure that they do win, you know, these prolonged, drawn-out fights. And I actually think I like their comp. It's super weird, but I think into what Glacial Esports drafted, I think it works really, really well.
For sure. I think it could work out great for Game 7 Mirage. Especially being able to, I mean, you were talking about Lucian being a solid like match into the Misfortune. We kind of forgot that Draven existed as a champion, and that's
pretty good too.
Also pretty great matchup for the Misfortune, just because the damage she outputs is also super high early. It's just that it's a little harder to maintain because you are playing that mini game with your axes, being able to catch them and keep juggling them through. Whereas Misfortune, all she really has to do is auto you the entire time, and we'll see if Game 7 Mirage is able to keep that success in the bot lane.
I think it's going to come down to Yasuo Silas here. Like the Draven is cool, but I think Draven is kind of like icing on the cake. If he pops off, that's cool. But when we're looking at Yasuo Silas, like these two in general are just so strong earlier in general. Like Ken can be sort of strong, but when we're looking at a level 3 Silas, the way that he can actually set those trade patterns up and just out-trade basically anybody who doesn't have a lot of damage early. I'm pretty sure Kennen loses level 3 versus Silas, so if Kennen can whittle him down early in lane, like it can definitely, you know, put the Silas on the defensive, but I don't think that's going to happen. What I think is going to happen is Zac is going to be paying a lot of attention to these solo laners early on, giving them a lot of pressure, especially Silas. I think the Kennen is going to get ganked early on, straight up, and then from there we'll see how they actually want to transition the Yasuo. The Ivern pick is actually super weird as well, because basically this means anytime that bot lane has prio, if they ever invade on your jungle, like the Ivern can just take away your red just like that, you know, like they take it away, and now you got a red on Draven now, you know. So it's actually super weird and interesting seeing this. It might work, it might not, you know. Are they trolling? Are they playing serious? I don't know, but it's gonna be fun no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see how this game ends up going. But before we jump into it, we are going to go ahead and send it over to a quick break. Get those predictions in. While we do that, we'll be with you in just a few short minutes. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to game number 3 of the series between Glacial Esports and Gang 7 Mirage. On the blue side, we have Glacial Esports once again, and on the red side, we have Gang 7 Mirage. Nothing has changed. They have kept it static throughout the entire series so far. Both teams seeming to prefer their respective sides here, as the 5-point does come through. Aurelia goes to the wrong place, kind of miscommunication there, as neither side going for an invade means that doesn't really matter too much. Let's just see what they end up doing. So, you know what, never mind. That's not gonna happen. I was gonna say they could send Zach into the support role, but like he has smite, so Zach doesn't want to be in support. Whereas, I mean, Ivern, as you said earlier, can take away those jungle camps though with that smite. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, so that'll be fun to see.
I really like the adaptation here. Like, Ivern itself is something that traditionally is difficult for many teams to play around because he doesn't bring some of the same things that other enchanters bring. But this right here is how you abuse that Ivern, right? Every time this Draven gets any sort of lead, any sort of pry, you can actually hold hands with the Zac or the Yasuo, walk through, you take away this red buff, and you're giving the red buff over to the Draven as well. So they have to be hyper aware. They've already been pinging that Ivern has smite, so they need to make sure that they're always, okay, here we go. They got the invade going down.
They're already looking for a I can't believe that it's this early that he wants to take away a camp, and he's looking for the Raptor. Oh, they actually might be able to catch this one out. Level 1. Late invade, a very strange invade, flash over the wall. Great flag and drag because he's level 2, and they're able to find first blood as Glacial Esports strike first, and that's going to be huge for their morale going into this one.
Yeah, I guess maybe they thought that popping maybe started blue or something, but no, he actually started red. So Ivern went in a little bit early. He got a little bit, like, hey, I really want to make something happen with this Ivern pick. He gives over to first blood, going over to this Leo. She didn't burn Ignite or anything like that, and I like what Grand Canyon is doing. Like I kind of talked about early, you have to put him behind early, so that way when this Sylas does hit level 3, the fear of the all-in and those big sort of chunk trade damage that Sylas does isn't going to be the same.
Yeah, absolutely. As now they're going in onto the Yasuo. Yasuo trying to find some damage here. Zach could come in as well. Don't know if it's going to be, if it's going to happen, as nope, he'll be just fine to start backing off here. Meanwhile, on the top side, we have a bit of a skirmish, but that won't become anything.
Yeah, I mean, Ken's got a little bit of a lead right here. Okay, Hex Flash. Let's see what happens. Okay, never mind.
Nothing.
Ken's got a little bit of a lead on this top side, but as this pushes in, the closer he gets to level 3 on this Silas, the more I have to be worried. And look at this Zach going in.
Yeah, trying to find the damage down onto that Irelia going back in, though. We'll find the damage a little bit on to that Zach. As Zach is getting very low, will take that passive down, trying to find those blobs as well. Will they be able to find the kill? The Q into the E, as they are able to find it. Yasuo goes back in, though, as not going to be able to find any damage right after that as he goes down, as they're pinging the teleport. A little bit of tilt coming through as they were looking for Silas's tilt. I mean, to be fair.
Yasuo's pinging on the Zach. Yeah, Yasuo
okay, Zach's pinging
on the Zach passive.
Oh, goodness. As the teleport comes in and the top side, speaking of that, is now Silas has to flash away as Irelia could... They could teleport here. Yasuo not moving at all. As that's just going to be a free play in the top lane. Actually, Yasuo did teleport. Oh, it might have been canceled. I think that's what happened.
No, Yasuo TP'd back to lane. So when Zach actually had that passive down right there under the turret, they wanted Yasuo to actually TP on those Zac bubbles. He didn't do it. He ends up actually letting the Zac die right there, and then he dies himself. So this was not optimal at all for the side of G7 Mirage. And then he TPs back to lane and tries to push it in, but still taking a lot of damage here on the way out. So he got something out of it, but the way that they orchestrated the dive on the top side, Hecate mask off going forward, but he's taking a lot of damage. So I like the way that the Ken is playing this, the way that they orchestrated that dive was so well, and now we're looking at Glacial Esports picking up a lot of gold advantage on their team.
Yeah, looking for that damage onto the Misfortune. Misfortune did end up having to flash right on out of there, unfortunately, but solid start though for Glacial Esports, coming out 4-0 as either they're all laughing about what happened in the mid lane, or they're flaming Yasuo super hard for what happened because it did spill into top lane immediately after. So if that's the case, there could be some tilt setting in, as well as now Ivern trying to keep his ADC alive. But look at how much damage is coming through from that Ignite, as at least Leona's the one who ends up picking that one up as Draven goes down in the bot lane. But I mean, Glacial Esports are coming out real hot in game number 3.
Yeah, they definitely felt the disrespect that G7 Mirage actually put out with this draft, and they are actually not done yet. Havoc's in trouble, and Best Turtle's here.
And they want even more, trying to find that damage down onto Leona. Leona getting pretty low here, will be taking a little bit more damage, is going to be maybe taken down, not quite though, as she will be out of there. As now, meanwhile, look at topside. Don't think we're going to see any more plays, though, as the dragon could be started up here. It is the Ocean Dragon coming up first here, as Zach does not feel comfortable going for that one at all, and I can't say that I blame him.
Yeah, right now everything's coming up Glacial, and look at this. Hecate Mask might be getting dove again. Aurelia's here.
Yeah, they could look for it as they do get that stun off, as they're just looking for this dive, and it is just too clean. Kite du Jour will go down, though. Does Q in for an extra little bit of damage, or healing, rather. But either way, it was just not going to happen, as meanwhile, Zach will find himself. Oh, hey, look. The enemy jungler does miss that E, though, as Popang will be able to just flag and drag right on out of there, as at least they get something back for themselves in the top lane, but that is still another kill going over to the other side. Grand Canyon, though, is spotted out on that ward. Best Turtle trying to find the play. Might look for the E. Is waiting a little too long. Might not have had it up. Goes in. The knockup comes through as...
Steel City Warrior right there, so big, and it looks like our play-by-play might have DC'd right there. He'll be right back, and yeah, Yasuo goes in with that last breath, and that's one of the things about that Zac Yasuo combo. You hit that elastic slingshot, and immediately the Yasuo's there to follow up, and look at this. Best Turtle's actually spotted out right here, and Popping's going in.
Yeah, flag and drag over the wall. Sorry about that. I was gone for a second, but I'm back now. Is now Best Turtle looking to go down as the flash forward after the flash from Best Turtle will result in a kill for that Jarvan in the jungle. As now Jarvan is being escorted out of his jungle by the mid laner, but Yasuo is running up as well. Does not have that last breath available, if I'm not mistaken. But Silas goes in with that Jarvan ultimate, finds the kill onto the Jarvan himself. Now Kaiser has to try to fight his way out of this one, and will be able to do so very easily. Is just doing so much more damage than this. Yasuo at the moment the Q is going to come through and snipes away the kill from the cannon, as now Zach is coming in as well. Will he be able to find the damage, find the knockup? There it is, but the E comes through from Kaiser, trying to block as much damage as possible. Just taking too much. Silas going back in, probably has the heal. There it is, as they are able to turn that one around, and the solo lanes are going to war, and all of a sudden G7M are finding so many more kills in this jungle.
Yo, it popped off super hard, wicked quick, and there goes G7 Mirage turning it around. At first, I was a little bit worried because it seemed like, they were kind of letting the Yasuo out to dry right there. But look at that, Heckin Mash waiting for those cooldowns to come back up, and here goes Purple Ninja looking for this engage. Got a little death brush here, and if Rob oversteps, maybe it might be Purple Ninja going in.
Yeah, does not want to do so though. Oh, he mistimes the E from the Draven, as now they will be able to start running down I'm Rob, but there's just not enough damage coming through. That bullet time was available, could have unleashed with that. The E was down from the Draven, so it was Last Breath is in fact available, as you just said. The Q is going to come out, but they get the knockup as well. Last Breath, there it is, finally comes out, as Yasuo just barely able to live off of that one, as Zach is able to pick himself up a kill in the mid lane with that Yasuo. As now we are seeing G7M starting to crawl their way back into this game, as it is Glacial Esports are starting to have it slip through their fingers. Oh hey, look, it's the Havoc is able to steal that one away, flashes away immediately. The Zenith Blade misses! You can't do that! The Solar Flare is also going to go down. The slow is not enough to actually get the Q. Nice. That's a massive misplay, in my opinion, from Purple Ninja. 100% every time you flash Q there, for the specific reason of if you miss E, the play's over.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice play by the Havoc on this Ivern, though. Like, he takes away that red buff right there. Nobody's going to be able to claim that. Draven might try to get to it. And, there's just so much back and forth going on. And look at this stolen ultimate.
Yeah, absolutely is. Now, it is a ultimate fight in the top lane. The Thunderstorms go down, but guess what? Silas is stronger, as he's able to win that one. As he will be getting out of here. As... absolutely got to give credit to that Ivern being able to make that play happen, and being able to, if you dodge away from the Zenith play, that's actually just so huge, and you end up punishing Leona for, not using one of the other abilities, and, a lot of people don't like to use that flash, which is perfectly understandable, but that is the risk that comes with that play, right, is that you could miss your abilities, and... it is an unfortunate outcome that they ended up having to deal with there, as we're going to see.
I just want to highlight how Silas is playing on this top side. Like, he absolutely took it to the cannon. And look at this. On the bot side, the rotations are there. It's going to be a 4v3. TPs are coming in.
Teleport is in fact coming through, as you just mentioned, as here they are. It's going to be a 5v4 in the bot lane. Kennon's on the way, though, trying to find his way in. Last Breath does come through, though, as now finds himself a kill, as Yasuo is surviving for so long, but the flash forward from the Misfortune is able to find the kill. Solar Flare just barely going to miss onto the jungler now, or onto I'm Rob. So I'm Rob finally goes down at the end of that one. Kennon has joined the fight, as now Silas doing what he can. Does miss the E to go back in. Now, Leona taking so much damage, going back in onto the Misfortune. Misfortune getting very low, seals away the bullet time. Bullet time's going to come out, but immediately gets stopped by that cannon. But the Zac going in as well. Damage is coming through. There it is, as they are able to take down that Misfortune. Now they're looking to go under the tower, trying to find the damage. Knockup's coming through from Daisy. Daisy needs to be taken down. Teleport's going to come through onto Daisy so they can keep her alive for just a little bit longer. Nice. Purple Ninja in a bad spot. Should be able to just take her down, as she is shut down by the Silas. And that's going to be an extra 450 gold. As now they have taken the kill lead, they have taken the goal lead for the side of Gang 7 Mirage.
Yo, that was so clean by the side of G7 Mirage. Such a nice TP play, making sure that the Daisy stays alive so that they can get that follow-up kill on a Purple Ninja. They get some plates out of it, and yo, screw the objectives. We're playing for kills, baby. It's 21 kills already at, 12 minutes? So they are on pace to... Okay, here we go. More fighting is going on.
He just barely misses from the Zac. Unfortunate there, as the Flag and Drag does not find its market. He has to flash out. Just a couple of missed skill shots from the junglers. Either way, they'll be just fine. Might lose the dragon. I think even if the flag and drag hits from the Jarvan, it doesn't go too well for them after that. As Leona walks up, face checks the brushes, trying to survive, flashes away, but should be going down very soon. Solar Flare gonna drop, but she's just getting so low. She will be taken down as flag and drag does hit, as they're doing so much damage to the Yasuo. Yasuo gonna be taken down through the shield from his passive. His bolt time is gonna come through into
Nasty.
that Jarvan cage, as traps himself inside the space, as I believe there was a solo kill in the top lane that we might have missed. Yep, or Draven is the one who killed Kennen, which is not what I thought happened.
Silva's
As now we're
looking for the
going to
quad.
see. Yeah, Ocean is going to get out of there though, and just barely managing to leave, as now Draven in the mid lane does have a decent little bit of HP, but Silva has so much more and will be able to get this dragon. Top lane tower will go down. First tower of the game. Next wave as that dragon goes down.
G7 Mirage just overstayed just a little bit right there. They needed to decide either we take the dragon or we all back away. It looked like there was a little bit of split right there. So they end up not only dying, but they also lose that neutral objective as well. So this is kind of what happens when you're trying to skirmish a little bit too much too early. And look at this. Yasuo is looking for the Aurelia, but it's not going to happen. So they were trying to force a little bit too much. The death timers are still super, super short, right? It's only 13 minutes in. We got 26 kills already going on in this game, and there's so much back and forth that they just kind of got caught up in it. They said, hey, let's keep fighting, let's take this objective, wait, no, let's keep fighting, and they end up feeding the MF so big right here. Now MF has the Yomos, got another Dirk, right? And we're looking at Draven. Draven only has the shield bow and some plate boots. So the MF is absolutely ahead at 4-1-3, 400 gold bounty. And now it comes down to, can we actually shut down this MF? They have so much wombo combo in preparation for this MF ultimate, this bullet time coming down. So you have to make sure that you kill MF or you're absolutely out of that bullet time. So yeah, going forward, it's all going to be about Hecate Mask and Steel City Warrior getting on top of this MF, shutting it down, and yeah, it should be a banger on this next fight for this Herald.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll see if they're able to go for the fight for the side of Glacial Esports, or if they just want to chill for a little bit. Zach could look to go in, does find that E very well, as that's going to be all they're able to accomplish. So many more members for the side of Glacial Esports in the top side. Draven farming the bot camps is not going to be here for this fight, and that's going to be actually massive for G7M Mirage here. So they're going to have to leave this one alone. To realize, yeah, we're going to see Silas maybe. I think he should be fine. I was going to say maybe they could look for the dive, but he just has too many allies around, as they're actually looking for the Zac, looking for that damage. He does not have his passive up, as now the Silas is not able to get in there, is finally able to get in there, but used his Kennen ult a little bit too early. Bolt time's going to come through, do so much damage, as now Last Breath comes through as well. Kennen's ult is going to come out now. The actual Kennen ult, as it's just so good for Glacial Esports, but the ultimate, I believe, from Draven from downtown, able to find that kill, as he is also working on this tower, able to get their first tower of the game in the bot lane. But the Rift Herald will be taken very soon, as a nice answer, as Irelia does find that ultimate. The lifesteal is going to come through from the Silas, though. It's just not enough. So much more damage, so much more lifesteal as well, coming in from the Irelia, as she's very easily able to find that 1v1.
Yo, Glacial Esports is starting to pull ahead right here. There's a little bit of a disconnect coming out on the side of this red side, G7 Mirage. Like, they're not sure. Hey, do we fight? Do we run? Do we push this wave? They're starting to come apart here a little bit on this game 3. This is match point. If they win this right here, G7 Mirage just win. And when we were looking at this draft and we were saying, like, hey, are they trolling a little bit? Are they having fun? Are they, playing to kind of play disrespectful? And look at this. The way that Glacial Esports are playing, they're absolutely taking it to it. And here goes Pepang. He just picked up that Herald and he's in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely in trouble. Does use that flag and drag to get out, though. The flash forward, the Everfrost is going to hit, but the Solar Flare to stop the Zac from going too much further forward. So now the flag and drag will try to get himself out of there, but it's just a matter of time. They are able to find that one. Silas picks himself up another kill, goes 8-4-4. And this Silas is just absolutely massive, as now Silva has to take a different route. Flashes through the Zac now, go under the tower, as the ultimate has been taken away from the Leona. Solar Flare for the Silas is enough to find the kill, with the Last Breath coming out out from the Yasuo as well, but
huge
Kennan's
cannon
in.
ulti.
Massive slicing maelstrom, but is it enough is the question. He's going to come out from that Zac to slow him up, as he will go down, as G7 fight right back, as they find a great fight for themselves as well on the back of that one. As will they be able to find an objective as well? Dragon's coming up in 50 seconds. All they can really do is set up for it, but I don't know if they'll be able to fight for it as well, with their cooldowns being what they are.
Yeah, the way that they play that's exactly what I wanted to see. The Yasuo, that Silas right there, going in, instantly destroying Silva on this MF. There isn't really peel necessarily. All the tools for the side of Glacial is mostly engaged. Like, yes, you can use some of these tools as disengaged, like a Leo ultimate or even a Kennen ultimate, that's slicing Maelstrom. But the way that they're generally using it are about going forward. So as soon as Silva overstepped just slightly, they said, yo, go in, blow up this MF, and we instantly win this fight. And that's exactly what happened. Now they are prepping for this next dragon. It is going to be that Mountain Soul picked up, and I like what they're doing right here. They're trading straight up. They said, hey, you know what? You want that dragon? That's fine. We're going to go ahead and open up your tier 1 right here and possibly even get another charge. Okay.
Probably should be able to get that next charge off. The last breath does come through. Knockup was there as the stopwatch just come through from Silas, but Yasuo is going to go down on the back end of that one, as the Everfrost will come through for a little bit of extra damage, and they will be able to find that one. Now Zac is going to run away after his top laner has fallen, as Zac Blobs will be popped. So they're able to find a triple kill for themselves. Dragon is up as well. They're not able to find that objective, and instead of just taking the trade and going for the dragon as well, they actually, oh wait, that could be big for the Draven, as the Irelia has taken a lot of damage, will be able to survive for it now though, as the rest of Glacial Esports starting to make their way towards this dragon, but the Ivern and Draven are starting the path in there as well. Ivern does have his smite up, could look for it, but I doubt that Ivern's going to be able to just waltz on in here and get the smite off. That seems pretty illegal, as Leona is doing a good job of playing zone, takes the Q, as yeah, Ivern, you're not getting into this one at all, as you gotta run away. Most likely, unless he just walks up. I feel like that's... they probably could have been punished, but don't want to go for it.
Yeah, G7 Mirage reminds me a lot of IG, maybe last year, where they were playing, what was it, like, they called it a fun game or something like that. So... Like, I forget what exactly it was called in, like, Mandarin, but the way that they're playing in this game, like, they just drafted it, and they're playing in a way where they kind of seem like they don't care. Like, they're overstaying, they're not taking the simple objectives, and Glacial Esports is just capitalizing. They're making them pay for it. And we're at 38 kills in 20 minutes, so this is actually a pretty crazy game. The amount of kills that have actually gone on, and now we're looking at the Aurelia. She is super fast. She is super online, 744, 500 gold bounty. She's got that Bork done. She's got that Showbow done. And look at Steel City Warrior looking for Grand Canyon. This Kennen right here. Kennen might be able to... Nope, he's in trouble.
Oh, he's very dead as this Zac comes on in. We'll get that E off as the last breath comes through. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Ivern is going to go down. Kennen has been erased from Summoner's Rift as well, though, as now they're going to look for the play towards the top side, but that's just not going to happen. Don't have the Irelia with you. Draven can also walk up, as that is a 3 versus 3 that you just don't win if you're Glacial Esports. I think you need to have your mid laner with you. She's just too big of an factor in these one fights, as now they're looking to still fight this, though. Irelia does have TP to join, so they actually are allowed to go for that, but both
I think the
sides
big thing is
it.
that MF is right there in that mid side. So
Mhm.
that's why the side of Glacial Esports feels confident at poking down at this Zac right here. They're constantly saying, hey, you know what? If you do turn, MF is right here. The bullet time is available. You are going to die, right? MF is sitting on this Eclipse, on this Yomas, and she is super big. Level 11 and everything like that, but it's not going to matter. Like, once you get that lockdown with that Cataclysm from the J4, you're just going to end up melting. We saw it in that last team fight. Even if the Aurelia isn't there, the MF is a big enough threat as well. And now you're sitting on double buffs on the MF. So they did a nice job on the side of G7 Mirage to actually try to blow that MF up. We saw earlier on that tower dive, maybe about 5 minutes ago, as this Barret is available at this moment. It's all going to be about now, not only do you have to kill the MF, but you need to make sure you're killing the Aurelia as well. But also TP is coming up on this Kennen again. Like, we saw how big that slicing Maelstrom was when he did TP flank last time. Now you have to be super worried about the Kennen as well. So everything is actually working out for the side of Glacial Esports right here. And if you're the side of G7 Mirage, you got to be feeling a little bit desperate.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Desperation does start to set in at this point. However, you do have that Draven who's very silently getting more and more fed in terms of CS, is maintaining about a 30 CS lead on his lane opponent in the Misfortune. So that could end up being something, you never know. We'll have to see how that develops though.
And I like what Glacial is doing right here, holding hands, making sure that they're taking away all the vision that they can. And if anybody ever steps up to try to fight them, tries to contest them, they just turn right there. They have the numbers advantage. Now we're seeing everybody else on the side of G7 Mirage try to rotate over to try to help out, but it's already too little too late. Now this Baron pit, all your Baron belongs to Glacial Esports. If ever G7 Mirage show, bot or anything like that, it's going to be a quick Baron. And the next fight, whoever wins it, that's going to be a Baron as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see if either side are able to start fighting for this one. They're actually going in onto the Zac for a bit here. Not able to find too much more. Yasuo not in a position to respond as well. As this will be the side lane matchup that we end up seeing for the rest of the game. You'd have to imagine Sylas versus Irelia. I think Sylas is the only one that can reasonably match her, and even then, I think if Irelia, it's a bit of a skill matchup, but I'm pretty sure Irelia wins that one in the side lane. So have to check in on that one later.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely really even right now. Like, I would say Sylas would probably still need something to cut down on the Aurelia healing. And at the same time, we look at Aurelia, she already has that Executioner's Culling. So when we look at Aurelia and Sylas, they both do so much healing, right? And Sylas doesn't have anything to negate it. And here we go, they're going in on Aurelia right here.
Pettiser could be in trouble. The Everfrost does come out. He's taking a lot of damage, but the teleport's coming through as well. Stopwatch going to drop Solar Flare as well. Kevin is here trying to use that Slicing Maelstrom to cut through. Yasuo has fallen. Meanwhile, Kaiser on the backline is going to be hit up a little bit, but the E is enough from her to keep herself alive. As Best Turtle goes in, it's just not enough. As Best Turtle is going to go down. At least the passive will, as he will be taken out. Meanwhile, the rest of the team will have to back away as Kaiser does a beautiful job of buying enough time for her team to respond to this play. This Dragon is up, and once again, another neutral objective slips through the fingers of G7M.
Yeah, this is actually the first time we're going to be able to see Glacial Esports playing for this Dragon Soul, right? It's going to be that Mountain Soul, and they're absolutely in position to finally get it. Like, they have been playing for late game scaling in game 1 and game 2. They never got a chance to scale. In this game 3, they're absolutely scaling. The Aurelia is so big, and yeah, on the side of G7 Mirage, they just overstepped. They said, yo, we're going to try to 2v1 this Aurelia down as quickly as I can, and just like I said, there isn't any healing reduction on the side of Sylas yet. Not even Yasuo has it. Yasuo is actually super far behind. So now we're looking at it and we're saying, hey, how are we actually going to kill Aurelia? Our Yasuo isn't strong enough anymore. The Sylas, everything is on his back, but there isn't any grievous wounds yet. And basically Aurelia just out-sustained him. They tried to go in, they couldn't burst her down quick enough, and their team on the side of Glacial Esports was there, ready to respond, and they absolutely did a great job of cleaning it up. And once again, this Baron is on the table. I was actually super surprised that they didn't immediately try to start that up as well, but they want to play it safe on the side of Glacial Esports. They know they have the lead. They know that this is must-win. Game 3, they absolutely have to win this, and they don't want to take any risk. So nice job on the side of Glacial Esports to get these leads and to not give anything away.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see if they're able to keep this one rolling. Doubt that'll be the case. Or I'm pretty sure Glacial Esports will be able to keep this rolling. G7M, though, would not be willing to count them out. Definitely have shown that they can play at least a little bit from behind. I think this much is a little bit of a stretch. As now Ivern forced to flash over the wall, especially with their comp that they have. It's a little wonky, and I think it needed to win early, as now it's going to be way more difficult for them to start making waves in this game, as now the Jarvan will be knocked up. The Yasuo was not in position or just didn't feel like using his last breath, which I think that's a good call for him to not go for that there, because I think they just get turned on and just die right after. So we'll see what they end up doing now, as everyone just kind of reverts to that 1-3-1. As Yasuo is looking for the pick onto Kennen, but with Jarvan coming up, that's not going to be an option anymore. So we'll see how these teams end up going forward. Neutral objective. The Dragon's up in 2 minutes 45 seconds. So still a while, still a lot of time that both sides have to work with before another
I like that
neutral
Silas
is up.
did pick up this Oblivion Ward. Like I was calling for it earlier, and okay, here we go, fighting again.
Popping going in, Solar Flare is just barely going to hit onto the Ivern. Ivern gets absolutely popped. Teleport comes in from the Irelias. Now they are wanting to go in onto this Baron. That is one of the smites down, as they are allowed to go for this. But Zach could very well steal this. But Irelia, is sitting in the wings, waiting for him to walk up, and will be taking a lot of damage. Last Breath going to come through as well. GA is there, as she is able to do whatever she wants. Knockup finally going to come through, but it's just too much damage, as now they're going to start running down the rest of G7. Silas is here as well, as Kennen could be cut off from the rest of his team. They have to make sure that Kennen's allowed to walk through, and if they go into this choke, it could be bad. Slicing Maelstrom could come out, as now Bullet Time's going to drop, as now that forces Draven into a bad position, but he's able to get a kill. He's been farming stacks so long, and he finally cashes in. That's why he's been in the side lanes hustling out there. As we'll see if he's able to find even more. Is walking up with the Ivern. Kennen could be baiting for the rest of his team, and I think he knows it. As Kennen, the rest of his team, will be able to get out of there, but they do end up stopping the Baron, but at what cost?
Yo, I like what we saw from Glacial right there. Like, that was so nice. They played it really, really well, and we're seeing how this Wombo combo is starting up. Kennen looking for the flank. That's what you have to do on Kennen. Like, Kennen wants to try to flank from this side, and the way he did it, it was super nice. You didn't get the whole channel of the bullet time on everybody, but you got a big portion of it, and as soon as those two ultimates went down, they instantly won that team fight. G7 Mirage had to back away after that. So this Kennen on this pick has been playing really, really well, and I like what we're seeing, because I can always tell when somebody plays Kennen a little bit, or really knows it, because you can see how they actually set up flanks, how they're playing patiently. Like, you have to wait, and you have to kind of spot out, like, hey, when's the best time for me to go in? Because if you land that big Kennen ulti, like, you instantly just chunk everybody down so massively that the Relia, the MF, the J4 even is able to clean up the fight. And now we're looking at this dragon up in 20, and they said screw the dragon. We know we're on Soul Point, but we don't care. We're looking for that base. We're looking to crack that inhib tower, and they're looking to start another fight.
He could come out from the Irelia finding a lot of damage down on to the Silas. Silas, though, last breath coming through from the Yasuo's. Now, Irelia taking very low, will just barely not be able to go down, as now they're going in onto the backline, onto the Kennen. Misfortune's going to go down, shut down for the Yasuo's. Now, Kaidager trying to find the angle back in. The Draven ult's going to swing wide, as now Draven going back in, trying to find it, but Yasuo has a double kill, might be able to find a triple, as no, Imra is going to be able to take that one away. Flash over the wall from the Leona, as a huge team fight comes out from the side of G7M, as they have won a fight, and that's absolutely massive, as all of a sudden they're back into this game. They're chasing down Purple Ninja. Will he be able to auto this plant? He's not able to get it, but Purple Ninja should just be dead either way. He's going to come over the wall, as now Purple Ninja has been shut down, as the Penta was stolen right from Yasuo's grasp, as they're going to go into the Baron, as I can hear you going like, what's going on? And I agree with you. What the hell just happened? How do G7M ever win that fight when Glacial Esports should just be in such a dominating position? And I think it all starts with Kaidager being in the wrong place.
Yeah, I mean, they instantly win in. That GA was already down. They popped it last time. Now that GA is actually down. So, I mean, that was a big portion of it. Last time that fight happened, Kaiser had GA, so he was playing a little bit more up, and now it was down. So, they instantly said, hey, we need to kill this Aurelia, and they stopped the MF bullet time as well. And the Draven was actually popping off. He did so much work with the Yasuo, able to clean up, make sure that he was able to finish it off. So, it's actually crazy that they're able to convert so much off of that. That was essentially, I mean, that was a clean ace, right? Like, that's so crazy that they were able to do that, because I'm over here thinking, Glacial Esports, they're going to win this, right? Like, they have so much control. They've already taken control of every objective, and I'm Robin in so much trouble.
Yeah, he is, as he's going to be taken down very quickly by that cannon, gets that shut down, as now they're looking for even more on the side of Glacial Esports being able to take this jungle away, as this is a nail biter, and it should not be. This is definitely Glacial Esports' game to win, but it's just because G7M is just so talented, it's going to be such a huge mountain to climb, especially with this Baron buff now being on these members. So you got to start thinking, we got to play for the soul. We should be, at least Baron should be gone by then, I believe, and then everything will be at least a little bit better. They are pushing their advantage.
MF is actually in the top side trying to back right here. There's no bullet time until she actually gets back.
Yeah, as Kennan's not really in a position as well, does not have teleport, could look for the flank. They could look for the play onto Kenan, though, the rotation. Kenan has to start running away. Is Zach able to get onto him is the question. He's going to come out as Kenan should be able to Hextech Protobelt his way out of there, as Zach is being baited a little bit to stay, but knows that, hey, the rest of the team is coming, and will just get on out of there.
I just want to highlight, like, Glacial Esports has controlled the vision in this topside jungle for that red. And basically, every time, the reason why Rob died right there was because they actually control all that vision. They saw exactly where Rob was, and they converged on it so quick. They didn't even give him a chance to think about it. So now, if I'm the side of G7 Mirage, I had to be thinking, oh my god, I think they actually own our jungle on this top side by the red. Like, we need to start trying to clear this out, or we need to start sieging and just win. You know, like, they did a great job last game of just getting Baron and just sieging it down, winning right there. And I want to see if they're going to do something like that right here. Like, it's 32 minutes in, almost 33. The Aurelia is super strong, now has the Randuin's. The GA is back up for Aurelia. And now I'm looking at this team on the side of Glacial Esports. If they want to fight right here, even with the Baron up on G7 Mirage, I feel like Glacial Esports is in really good position to actually win this.
Yeah, for sure. They are looking for the play up in the top lane, I believe.
Oh my god, they're looking for Aurelia.
Oh my god, Aurelia could go down here. This is a pretty simple dive for them to pull off. The tanking has started for the Zac, as now he's going to find that knockback, as they're going to find the knockup as well. But Yasuo's not here to really last breath anything, but it doesn't matter. The GA has been popped. All they gotta do is time the knockups once again. The stuns come through. Kaiser has fallen once again. Now the top lane should be going down, as Best Turtle was tanking that entire time, is just fine. Had that passive available as well. There was no fear of him going down in that situation. They don't get anything for their trouble, though, which is good news for Glacial Esports. But still, that's another time that Kaiser has kind of been caught out in general, as they might be able to pick up the top lane tower now that Glacial Esports just kind of gave it away. They started backing up afterwards, as the Dragon's coming up in a minute. They should be heading over there and starting to get that vision down as quickly as possible. Or, you know, die to G7M once again. Right here. Could be bad. Ivern going in, as that should be all she wrote here. Nope, they're going to keep sieging, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say the Baron has actually timed out. So they did all that. They went after the strongest piece on the map. They said, hey, Kaiser, even though you're here underneath this turret, we're still going to go for it. We have the numbers advantage. We're pretty strong. We know you have that GA, but if we take you out right here and pop your GA, like, that's so much gold for one, but now it's a GA down. And looking how this Dragon is going to be coming up in 30 seconds. Everybody's converging down. And I think whoever wins this fight right here, I don't want to, like, step out too far, but I feel like, you know, because it is 35 minutes in, like, I feel like whoever wins this next fight is going to win the game.
Yeah, no, I think that's perfectly reasonable to say. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I mean, you look at how strong this Yasuo has become, how strong the Silas has become as well. Yes, the Misfortune. Oh, Misfortune's lethality. All right, so she's actually going to start falling off. But that's okay, because Draven... Never mind, Draven's actually massive. So it's going to be rough for Glacial Esports to win this team fight. They have to find a great engage. Irelia might, or Kenan might have a pretty solid flank. They're going in. Here comes a slicing Maelstrom. Is he able to get in, though? But Silas has stolen that away very deftly, as now, because they're trying to cause as much backline for each team as possible. Oh, Turtle's going to go in, gets his passive popped, but now Kenan is low, was not able to find the kills that he needed to. Meanwhile, Zach did his job disrupting the enemy backline, and now Silas going to go in with that slicing Maelstrom as well very soon. You got to imagine, is now Kaiser getting very low. Will be the Misfortune actually gets taken down first. Knockups come out from the Yasuo, as they are able to wipe Glacial Esports off of the map. A double kill for the Silas, as now they're going to go for that Dragon, but I think they should start pushing their lead here. They can get Baron on top of it. All the neutral objectives will be wiped off the map for the side of G7M, as they are stealing this game away from Glacial Esports.
Yo, okay, so we're seeing a pretty big, I don't want to say flaw, but definitely something that Glacial Esports is getting exposed on, and it's that there's actually no peel for Silva on this MF at all. Immediately, Best Turtle on this Zac just put out so much pressure. He basically 1v1 MF and Purple Ninja on this Leo. Like, he took it to them. This is going to be the Baron started up. They took the Mountain Drake as well. So if I'm Silva right here, I'm like, guys, like, you all went forward. You saw Zac go in on me, and you just ignored them. And if I'm an 80 carry, which I am, I'm actually a little bit tilted right here because I'm like, guys, like, I have the bullet time available. He tried to actually get a bullet time in there, and it actually whiffed on everybody. We saw the Zanyas come out, that Stasis come out, and it basically stopped everything. And now it looks like Zach went Anathemas as well. So I love Anathemas chains. It makes you so tanky. You can put this onto the Aurelia, onto the MF, either one, and it's going to work out perfect for you. And just the way that, Best Turtle played that in that fight, taking Silva out of it, I want to give a big shout out to him because you don't really see that too often. Like he said, you're not going to be able to channel this. And we saw Grand Canyon on the Canyon try to like do like a 1v3 sort of thing. It didn't work out because he didn't have enough damage to actually burst everybody down, and they have Zanya. So it's super impressive seeing the way that G7 Mirage are just, not giving up and taking it to him, and they have a nice gold lead. They have Baron, they're sieging it down, and they're pushing for this win, looking for the sweep.
Yeah, they definitely want the sweep. We'll see if they're able to take that away. That is the question of the day. Can they close this one out 3-0? It will start with this Baron push. Could actually end with the Baron push, as now this inhibitor should be going down. Just a couple more auto attacks from the cannon, or helped along by that Draven as the inhibitor does go down as they start rotating down towards the bot side. That's exactly what you do. You just move right on down to the next lane, start getting this one pushing, get as much as you can out of this Baron, and just choke Glacial Esports out of this game. However, the Glacial Esports do have the fact that they are matching items. Like, yes, they're down a lot of gold, but we're getting to the point of the game where it stops mattering as much, as everyone's nearing full build. So, I mean, it's all just going to come down to who is able to play these fights better. And, I mean, as it stands, it looks like it's going to be G7M. They've just been playing these fights beautifully, and the standoff is happening. Just trying to get this siege going down now, as the cannon is here.
If I'm Glacial, I just got to say, we can't wait for them to take it to us, guys. We have to be proactive. We have to engage. Every time that G7 has actually gone forward, Glacial just loses. So if I'm Glacial, I'm just like, bro, like, J4, go in. Let's see what happens with that MF and the Cannon ulti layered with you. But if you just do this, what they're doing right now, they're just losing their base right here, and they're stalling out too much. And we'll see if it works out. I personally, kind of don't like this play, but if they give up triple inhib, it's almost all, it's almost over, basically, when you give up triple inhib at this late in the game.
It makes it so hard to challenge a soul that, by the way, is coming up in about a minute and a half. As now, Kaiser goes forward, will not be caught out, though. They're not able to find the play. They want to look for the play. They agree with your statement. You got to make something happen before they engage on you. As now they're going in onto the Leona, but that's not the target that you want. Last Breath is only going to hit that, as Multime is going to come through on the other side of the fight. Now, they're trying to find the Solar Flare, as they do find one, but Kaiser is relatively unhit. Slicing Maelstrom is going to drop, but it's only going to drop onto one. Cannon so low, will not be able to go down, though, as the rest of G7 are trying to fight their way in. Misfortune is also so very low. The Draven, and that's gonna be it. What a play from I'm Rob, as that was just insanely well placed, as now that's going to be the Irelia's GA going down. It's going to be popped, but she'll be popped right after as the jungler goes down, as the Draven finds the game-winning ultimate. And they will take game number 3. They take the series in a 3-0 sweep on some of the craziest compositions I have ever seen in my life. And G7M are your first finalists.
Yo, G7 Mirage, nice job. Super impressive. The comp, at first it looked a little bit shaky, but then they realized how to play around it. They realized, hey, this is actually the way we're supposed to do it. Like, they were playing a little bit disrespectful early on, and then they just pulled it together, showed that superior team fight, that superior team in general, and they just won every single thing. But Glacial Esports, like, I gotta say, like, this was actually the best game that they've shown. Like, it looked really, really good, the way they did. There was just a little bit of disconnect. They got put on the back foot there towards the mid game. Kind of, their lead kind of got lost a little bit. And Basically, the MF got picked on there a lot, and nobody really helped the MF out a couple of times, and that's kind of what happened right there. So, I just want to say, G7 Mirage, like they're the returning champs from last year, but oh my goodness, they look good. Like if I'm playing against this team right here, I'm like, bro, like how are we actually going to beat them? Because they were actually losing this game early on, and they still came back in that mid game, in that late game, and won basically every big team fight when it mattered.
I mean, as much as it like kind of does suck to say, it did feel like they just played better, and when it came to the team fight, like it just felt like Glacial Esports was outskilled to a certain extent. Because if you're Glacial Esports, that should be enough of a lead to keep snowballing that in your favor. But the fact that the team fights became as close as they were is indicative of just how good G7M is. And it's not like you necessarily played super bad. It's not like you ended the entire fights away by making some egregious mistake. It's actually just really, really small mistakes in the middle of fights that ends up leading to that. And it's those small differences that could decide a game, especially when these two teams are so evenly matched in gold.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the damage charts, and I mean, you look at the way Glacial Esports, like they had so much damage on their team in comparison, and you look at the MF, the Aurelia, the Ken. I mean, even the J4 put up some really respectable damage numbers, and in the end, like even though we're looking at the Silas, putting up almost 40K on the side of G7 Mirage, like, and it was a lot. Like Silas by far did the most damage with those stolen Ken ultimates and everything. It still wasn't enough. So the way that G7 Mirage just layered things together, the way that they, kind of constantly showed like how well they can actually fight as a team. Like it was actually really impressive to watch. And on the side of Glacial Esports, like I gotta say, I felt like they played really well. It was just like those little bitty things that kind of crept up, not peeling for the MF when you really needed to, sometimes the Aurelia was going in, or, missed timings, just slight missed timings. And the way that G7 Mirage just capitalized on it is just a real testament of how well they play as a team. But I thought Glacial Esports actually played really, really well. It was just that G7 Mirage, just kind of knew what to do to neutralize the way that Glacial Esports was playing.
I 100% agree with you there. As we touched on, Glacial Esports did not play bad. It's just that G7M, G7 Mirage at the end of the day just played slightly better. And, that's the story of these games as it went. I feel like a lot of them were actually, or at least, these three were pretty close at times, but eventually G7M would find that fight that just blows open the game, and then from there G7M just kind of snowballed the game to victory. And once G7M got a lead, they never let go of it.
Yeah, they played with leads really, really well. They played the snowball game really, really well in game 1 and game 2. Game 3, I thought they were going to lose, but, the nice comeback, the nice, mental that they showed as well. Like, they showed that they weren't going to give anything up, even if they did have kind of a 4-fun draft. Like, it's just going into, semis and everything like that. Or, yeah, it's semifinals, right?
Yes.
This is semis, yes.
Okay, so going into finals and everything then, I'm just looking at, whoever they're up against, I would say, make sure that your early game is actually solid, because G7 Mirage knows how to play the early game really, really well. So if you can't match their early game, you need to find some way to actually shut down the snowball in some way. Maybe that's, getting tanks, or, maybe it's something with globals in general. Like there's a lot of different ways you can actually play it, but you need to make sure whenever you're playing this team, you're drafting strong lanes and you're not allowing them to snowball.
So
Absolutely.
G7M is gonna face either Nightless Esports
Mhm.
or
That sounds
Glaive
right.
Onyx.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Whoever wins that match. I don't know. Let me see. They have not put
Night.
the schedule on there, so I don't know when they play against each other.
Mm-hmm. I know Nightless was seeded higher, I believe. So
So the standing. Let's see. Nightless was actually 6-1, tied with G7 Mirage, and the
yeah,
standings.
does sound correct.
While
So-
Glaive Onyx is 5th place.
Oh my!
Yes.
So they've been making a run.
Mm-hmm.
A pretty solid one at that. So that'll be really exciting to see either one of those teams go up against G7M. I think that next week is going to be so unbelievably hype.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And actually, also G7 Mirage beat Northern Michigan University and Northern Michigan University was a one of the teams people thought was going to make it all the way.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
they're playing
makes
well.
sense. Yeah. I mean, it makes complete sense seeing as how G7M have been or played in this series. I mean, a 3-0 is a pretty big statement in and of itself. So, does not shock me at all that they were able to take down tournament favorites. And obviously there's some bias going into this one, but I would see them also as favorites
That's
in
true.
finals against whoever they face. But I mean, who knows? Maybe Nightless Esports is also just super, super good. So again, we'll see a hype matchup next week for sure.
No, the only problem is that you can't really draft against G7 Mirage because, as you know,
No.
as Cursive just said, like they troll draft. They trolled the draft. They really did. There's no doubt about it. You pick Draven with Ivern, and you picked Yashro mid against Aurelia, which is a bad matchup for Yashro in the first place. And then you
Mhm.
pick Silas against Kennen. In my opinion, that's a bad matchup for Silas.
Happy game.
Yeah.
That's what it's called, a happy game. Like I was trying to think of that an entire time. Like IG when they were kind of doing this stuff, they were like, "Oh yeah, it's a happy game." So that's exactly what G7 did right there. Like straight up happy game. They're like, "We'll see what happens." I will say, like, I do like the Silas play top. Like the Kinnan was bullying him early, which is what I really wanted to see. But the way that Silas played it, it was so good. Like he was always making sure that he stole the ultimates and go in and like got really big ultimates. The slicing maelstroms are so big. And I mean, I don't really know how exactly to play against this team if I was a coach going into the finals.
I
Like,
wouldn't know either
I mean, for
because
one,
honestly,
like I think you're gonna have to be able to pick things that can stop Snowball or Snowball themselves. Something that can roam or has a lot of move speed, or something that has a lot of globals. Because the way that they were rotating through all these other lanes, and also putting pressure in the jungle and constantly contesting jungle, especially in what the game one, game two, like they made sure they were always taking blue buff away as well. So there's a lot of different layers to this, a lot of things to break down on that coaching side. If I'm somebody that's trying to set up like, well, maybe we can't outdraft them, but can we out rotate them? Like, can we also do things to set up things to maybe give us an advantage when they don't have one? So it's going to be
but
interesting.
if you want a
Sorry.
fun fact, the top laner for G7 Mirage hit every time he played a champion, they got banned the next game.
Hmm,
Oh.
interesting.
Game 2, Timo was banned. Game 3, Sins was banned.
Oh man. It's just I mean, honestly, if I were to give like my vote for player of the series, it would 100% go to that top laner. I mean, every single time I think he performed really well. I mean, the Timo game he popped off, the Singed game he was he was running all over the map. You even said that yourself. And then also in the third game, Silas was really the only one winning lane. Draven won in terms of CS, but it felt like Misfortune was just so much more ahead in terms of kills. But Silas was really holding it down up there, even after getting dove like twice in a row.
Yeah, no, I have to give props to the Silas, and then you have to give props to the jungler. The jungler just making
Yeah.
those like engages for his team because
Hmm.
what did he play the first game? I actually forget. He played
Yeah.
Poppy. He did really well on Poppy. He did really well on Sejuani, and then he played really well on Zac. But I have to say, player of the series has to go to the top lane. Like you played Timo, you still somehow out damage your entire team when you're.
Timo's good right now, though. But yeah,
Temo's
he's
great
pretty good.
right now.
He's like top
It's
three right now.
annoying.
Like,
It's
Yeah.
annoying how
but
good
you
he
never
is.
expect a Timo to beat a Camille though.
No. And
That's the
Timo
thing.
counters Camille. Timo
It's
counters Camille pretty
it
hard.
Oh,
does,
that, yeah.
but you just never like you never like when you see a Timo pick, you're just like, oh man, it's not gonna do nothing. And then when you fight against it, you're just like, what is this thing? Like, why is this thing in the game?
I'm scared of Timo right now. Like I respect it. Yeah,
Exactly.
like Timo's hella scary, but I get what you're saying. Like because we don't
Mhm.
see Timo a lot, and because
Especially in
after those last
comps.
round of buffs, yeah, like those last round of buffs, like he's still kind of sort of creeping in, finding his spot in the meta. But like more people are actually getting wise to the Timo top. So yeah, I think it's going to be definitely something that's not such a surprise. Like I believe right now he's definitely maybe not top three, but definitely a top five top laner if we're looking at just win rate. And when we look at his counters, like, he smashes Camille. So the fact that, the Camille was picked blind and then they just insta lock that Timo right there, it feels so bad because Camille itself is technically a power pick. Like, she's hella good. But Timo just right now, he just smashes so, like, the things that he smashes, it's just
The
so bad.
entire
It's not
top
even
lane
close.
meta. The issue is Teemo counters the entire top lane meta right now. Because the entire top lane
Except for
meta
TK.
is mainly
Beats
well,
everybody.
except for TK. But
Yeah.
TK doesn't have a lot of bad matchups, so that's the issue with TK.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, exactly.
the issue with it is that like you want because like Camille's meta, Fiora's meta, Set, Jax, all those champions that rely heavy on auto basing, type of abilities. Teemo can just like, oh, guess what, you're blind. Oh, guess what, you're blind again.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
on top of your blind, you're poison on top of that. And then if he throws on the shroom, you're slowed and poison.
Yeah,
So
it's not a great time for top laners right now.
so it must be the most frustrating things to face against.
Yeah, I also like the way that he was laying down the shrooms around the objectives as well.
No,
Like,
that yeah, it was really smart
yeah,
because
that's one of the things that I really look at.
because people don't realize is that yeah, team mushrooms don't give you vision, but if you look at Fog of War, you can tell when team mushrooms gets stepped
Right.
on
Exactly. So yes, they kind of give information at the very least if they are stepped on.
because they pop and like you see little like poison spores like so like okay look
Exactly.
they're on dragon now guys let's all collapse on dragon and that's what they did. And the same thing with the Singe, like as I was saying before, he was running around the entire map flipping people and just poisoning them and slowing them to the point where his team was able to pick up kills. And then
Yeah,
and then the
absolutely.
Silas, he decided, you know what, I'm gonna put on my carry pants.
Yeah, that was definitely the case. He definitely did a good job of it.
But that's what I love about the LTS. Like as you saw, every
Hmm.
single fight was always around objectives. Every big fight was
Yeah,
around usually around objectives. It was either around objectives
that's what they do.
or it was a fight where the other team knew they could win.
Exactly. Not a lot of. I mean, it is kind of Clownfius in the fact that they are fighting over everything, and like when you don't have the comp that's allowed to fight, you need to back up. And in LTS, they're like, nah, we're fighting for this no matter what our composition is, which is you don't want to see that necessarily, but it is entertaining at the
It is. It
so
makes it a
there's
fun
that.
stream. But don't forget to
Exactly.
tune in to the Valorant stream tomorrow, right? Or is Valorant done?
Mm-hmm. Uh, I know most of our leagues are done because LRS just finished, LAS just finished. The draft leagues are still going. I don't know about Valorant though.
Let me check on my
Not
stuff.
sure.
Let me
We
confirm.
we'll see. I actually I want to say someone. I want to say I saw one of the Valorant teams win. I think I
Valorant
saw that
LAS. Let me check.
that information for you guys real quick.
LAS schedule. No, okay. The LAS it's already done.
Nice. Is LRS still going on Sunday, or is it just
LRS. Let me check. Checking schedule. No, the LR. It looks like the LRS is still going on. The
all
semifinals.
right?
It looks like the
Perfect.
semifinals is going. Yeah, is on the 31st. So don't forget to tune
Awesome.
in. I don't know if they're doing anything on Saturday for a Saturday stream or not, but they might not
My
be.
camera froze.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the cameras actually.
That's awesome. Hold on. I'm gonna turn that off.
Sometimes these things happen. It's all good.
It didn't matter that I
I
turned it
tried to
off.
fix
Hold
it
on.
earlier, but for some reason the camera's like, yeah, no.
It's all good.
But don't forget I don't know if they're doing anything for Saturday, but I don't forget to tune in on Sunday for the LRS Balance stream. I don't know which one they're going to stream, but it's PVE versus FF or I think it's Wish versus DA.
Should be some fun matchups either way.
Any last words before we end the stream?
Nothing that I got other than just very excited for finals once again. Just really excited to see G7 Mirage back again on stream in finals.
I want to see some more wacky comps they come up with.
Exactly. Yeah.
But until then, next
That's all I got.
guys,